What's up, everybody? Just waiting for data to send real quick. Making sure that it connects to both Twitch and YouTube. Before we get into anything, ignore the socks in the background. Was separating some of the clothing. But yeah, the package that I've been telling y'all we've been waiting for, it finally showed up. I'm gonna go unbox it. Alright, we're here. I've already opened it because I had to make sure everything was inside of it. But as you can see, it's from Gamer Subs. I ordered this about a week ago, and it showed up last night right after I went to sleep. So I picked it up this morning after work. And we got a couple things. First off, as you can see, we have a shaker cup. I'm not going to show you what's on it yet. I'll show you in a second. But we have a shaker cup. It's of the Waifu brand, or their Waifu run. We have 3 flavor packets. We have pineapple cocktail, Misfits melon, and blue raz. Now, blue raz I tried. It's actually the flavor that we got. We got blue raz Gamer Subs. Good shit. Good shit. I just realized you can't really see the red. Huh. But yeah, Gamer Subs. Sorry, hoodie's a little dirty. Blue raz packet. If it'll focus in there. Blue raz. Pineapple cocktail. Misfits melon. Misfits melon is the green one you see me drinking on stream. Blue raz I've had before. Blue raz, I'm telling you, mix the blue raz with some Sprite. Shit is so good. We got the little advertisement card that comes with it. Shows you how much water to put, how many scoops per amount of water. Some flavors and different recipes you can make. If it'll zoom in on it or focus on it. You get it. It's just promotional stuff. And then this. It's a sticker. I don't want you to see the sticker yet until I reveal the cup. So we're going to hide that down here. I love the Misfits so much. The Misfits is my favorite group right now on YouTube. I patiently await all of their uploads. So, seeing as I love the Misfits and Swagger Souls is one of my favorites, I got the Swagger Souls Waifu. This is what I'm going to be using on stream, every stream, to drink my Gamer Subs. And the sticker that we got is the Swagger Souls Waifu sticker. And I'm going to let you guys decide where I put it. Am I putting it on my laptop? Am I putting it on my PC case? Give me an idea of where I can put the sticker, and I'll do it. Now, with that out of the way, since I've never had pineapple cocktail, we are going to make the pineapple cocktail. I have some water set aside so we can make it. The cup comes with, I don't know how well you can see that, but it's got milliliters and ounces. So we're going to make 24 ounces. I'm going to flip to the 25 line, but the lid just kind of screws off and on. This is the, instead of a shaker ball, it has this. It's fantastic. When I broke my other one, I kept this piece so I can change it out with different colored lids and stuff. So I'm going to fill it up with some water. Now the packet has 2 servings, so we're actually going to fill it up to 16 ounces. I like it to be almost even. It's just a weird thing that I do. Shake the packet down. Allergies are getting to me. We have a cold front coming in and it's just jacking everything up. The wind is absolutely bonkers, but we go. Dump it in. Ooh, that's a nice yellow. Ooh. It smells good. Oh yeah, that smells great. Put the shaker cap inside. Make sure the lid's cracked down all the way. Hold on, I'm cross-threading it. There we go. Get the lid on nice and tight, and then you just shake. And yeah, it's the Swagger Souls Waifu Cup. Now we're gonna hop back over to computer land. And we're gonna hop into some Warframe. Oh, another thing that I didn't tell y'all, or that I was going to tell y'all, and it just slipped my mind for a second, is that I DM'd the hosts of my favorite podcast right now, National Park After Dark, and I actually got their permission to play the podcast while I'm streaming. We're gonna pick up on the episode that I left off on. It's episode 25. It's called Shifting Sands, Big Bend National Park.
Streaming only on Peacock.
John Wayne Gacy is suspected of having killed as many as 32.
Straight from the killer's mouth.
They want you to believe that I alone committed these murders.
The new gripping 6-part documentary series that investigates the crimes.
Real quick, let me do a taste of it. Taste the pineapple cocktail.
The whole story.
John Wayne Gacy, Devil in Disguise. All episodes streaming now. Only on Peacock.
Deep in the Chihuahuan Desert, amongst the Chisos Mountains, around the bends of the Rio Grande, and past the Santa Elena Canyon, amongst the yucca plants, roadrunners, and rattlesnakes, you will come to El Despoblado, the uninhabited land. Desert hollies splash the browns and reds of the landscape with their pink and white flowers. Tarantulas scurry underfoot.
It's alright.
In the distance, coyotes yip and bark under the sweltering
It's not
sun.
strong.
This land,
Which I
on the
kinda
far
like.
reaches of civilization,
And
handles
it's
life and death
tastes like
equally.
pineapple.
It stands impartial as
Kinda
the
what I
troubles
would
and
expect
toils
from
of
a
existence
pineapple
plays out,
cocktail.
sunrise to moonrise, over
And
and
since we have
over
no more
again.
use for
Most of the beings here
table cam,
in Big Bend National Park
I'm taking
are in a
table
fight
cam
for their
down.
lives, struggling every single
I can
day
have my
just
phone.
to ensure they see another. But what if that wasn't the case? What if, despite all efforts, all wants and desires, you wanted to die, but couldn't? Welcome to National Park After Dark.
I have one new item in my inventory.
Hey everybody, welcome back to National Park After Dark. My name's Cassie.
And my name's Danielle. Happy Monday,
Huh.
brand new week. Let's get it started with some
Sad news from last week. We realized it happened the day we posted our treasure hunt episode last week. If you listened at the very end of the episode, we talked about a reel live treasure hunt that was going on in Utah and how you could participate in it as well. The very same day that we posted the episode, the treasure was found, and we were hesitant to even mention it because we both were like, oh, what if they find it as soon as we post the episode? And of course it happened. So just to let you all know, that treasure hunt isn't there.
Do you know who found it? Did you read the post?
They posted something about who found it, but I was too devastated.
It's too soon. It's too fresh.
soon.
Well, other than that, merch we have currently posted on our website, npadpodcast.com. You have
It's
a couple
literally the
more
first
weeks to
password I
snag
put in.
something if you'd like. We're only having it up until the end of July.
51
I got a wine
Cryotic.
tumbler. I
You
thought it
did?
was, yeah, I thought it was so cute. I had to.
You
get
ordered
one.
one?
Yeah.
I think I want to.
Tell me how the audio sounds, guys.
Yeah.
I like the camping mugs. And the wine tumbler, I was like, oh, I have to get this. This is so cute. So now I'm going to use it when we're recording our episodes.
So yeah, if you want merch, go ahead and go over to our website. You can also access it through our Instagram, National Park After Dark. You have until the end of July to do so.
Before we get started, Patreon.
Let's see if our
If you're
Kubro's done.
interested, if you've caught up on all of our episodes, we've been getting a lot of messages lately. Are like, oh, we just finished all the episodes. We're all
2
caught
hours
up. Like,
left.
We can't wait till next week. Well, if you haven't subscribed
That's
to our
fine, we
Patreon,
can wait.
we have 4 additional stories on there right now. So if you have caught up and you need some more to listen to, go on Patreon. You can listen to them on either tier that we have
Rhino
offered.
class and
Well, I'm
Taxon are ready
excited
to
for
claim.
this week's episode because if you all haven't caught on yet, Danielle is very good at keeping a secret of what her
Yvara
story
Prime
is
we
going to be,
can't do
where
yet.
I am not. I'm immediately texting Danielle every
We're one step
idea
closer to the
before
Rhino
we even get
frame.
started, and Danielle's actually really good at hiding them from me. So I am going into this just as blind as you all are.
I did my best just because I've learned over the last 6 months or 5 months, however long we've been doing this, that I like
need a
watching your
Morphic for a
reactions
Scar
when you know
Symbiote.
little to nothing about the story. This
Me
week,
grabbing my face.
Do you
grabbing your
remember the
face,
old
mouth
war,
open,
operator?
she will slowly
Order seems
start
to have
leaning
misplaced
back
those memories.
away from the microphone in horror.
Oh.
So anyways, today,
Let's
as the
get
intro alluded,
into
we
submissions.
are headed to Texas to Big Bend National Park.
Oh, we have not gone to Big Bend yet.
Before we get started, information for the episode was gathered from 3 different places. First, I recommend this show to anyone who wants to know more about this episode. There is a show called Pandora's Box. It's older, it's a few years older. I kind of had to dig to find this. And there's an
Symbol of the
episode
Prime
on this
Vanguard. For
particular
limited time
story
only,
called
trade
Death
Aya or
Wish.
Varia
There's
Dax in exchange
also
for Vault
a
Relics or Regal
very
Aya.
long and detailed article written by Rachel Monroe for Medium.com.
Guess let's go
And
to Maru's
finally,
real
of
quick.
course, my book in my collection. So not my book, I didn't write it. But I have a book in my Death In collection called Death in Big Bend. And there's a chapter on this particular story. Another thing, this episode is pretty graphic. And you should listen at your own risk, as always. So if you're ready to take the risk, let's go to Texas.
I think half the people listening are like, no, and the other half of people are like, tell me more.
Well, I
Graphic?
kind of-
What kind of graphic?
Well, if anybody out there is diehard My Favorite Murder fans,
of the parts was
there's
recently
a
stolen
quote
by the
that Georgia says, and she says, "This is terrible, keep going." I actually have it as a sticker on my laptop, and that's my kind of people, like, oh my god, this is terrible, but I want to know more. If you haven't
That
caught
is
on
not
by
a
now,
hard
everything
is,
is pretty
or
much
not a
terrible,
systems,
but
or not a
if you want
wings.
to know more, here we go. Located in West Texas, Big Bend National Park is the largest protected area of the Chihuahuan Desert. Originally established as Texas Canyon State Park in 1933, it wasn't until 1944 when it was opened to the public as Big Bend National Park. It is one of the nation's least visited and most remote parks. To put that into perspective, Yosemite, for example, I picked that one because I know it's close to your heart. They saw
Welcome to
nearly
Marvin's Bazaar.
4.5
You
million
trading,
visitors
or
in
are
the
you
year
looking for some
2019.
endo from Montane Treasure?
In comparison, Big Bend had that same year 466,000.
Wow.
Don't let those numbers deter you, though, because Big Bend has a lot to
Tenno,
offer.
remember
It
me?
encompasses an area
We never
of
got
over
introduced.
800,000
Names,
acres and is the
Varzia,
only U.S. park to
former
contain an
Dax.
entire mountain
Was
range,
nice till our
which are the
mutual friend over
Chisos
there popped
Mountains.
my pod.
This park
Wasn't
is
too
rich in
happy
history,
about
both
waking up with all
geologically
my
and
friends
archaeologically
dead.
speaking. And if you're
And
a
a headache
paleontology
bigger than
nerd
Hun
like
Hao's
me,
ass.
this park has an exhibit
But a looker
dedicated
as
to the
sweet as
remains of
Maru?
dinosaurs found
Yeah,
within
I can
its
help you forget
boundaries.
anything.
To date, over 1,200 fossil species
not
have
here
been
for
found
my
within the
life
park
story.
that span
You're hunting
over
antiquities,
130 million
Crimes?
years.
I
This
can
park
make
has
that
gone
happen.
through a lot of
If
changes.
you bring
It
me
was
Aya.
once an ancient sea, which then gave way to a swampy coastal environment. As time went on, the coastline moved further to the east, which left
Oregon
Big Bend an
sequencing
ideal
medium.
space for huge
Tricks used it to
dinosaurs.
archive
40 to
everything.
60-foot
Memories,
crocodiles
evidence,
with
warframes.
6-inch teeth,
The Oregon can
flying
rot in their own
dinosaurs with a
filth.
wingspan of
But
39
those
feet,
prime frames,
and 50-ton,
they deserve to live again.
100-foot-long dinosaurs
Regal
all
Aya can
swam,
make
flew,
that
and walked within this
With
park.
Regal Aya,
Wow,
this foundry can
so
reconstruct
cool.
you a prime warframe yank
So further
straight from
down
my
the line
time.
came humans.
As real
There's
as my
been
pretty
record
face
of
in
human
front of
activity
yours.
within Big Bend dating
No
back
guesswork.
thousands of years. And while many groups of native peoples lived and passed
The
through
prime
the area,
vanguard,
most notably
the pride
were the
of empire.
Comanches. They traveled through
And
the
the
area
end
on
of
what
it.
is now referred to as
Hell
the
of a
Comanche
thing.
Trail on their way to and from raids in Mexico. And just a side note, on the Comanches in particular, right now I'm reading a book called Empire of the Summer Moon, and it's all about the rise and fall of the Comanche tribe, which has gone down in history as being one of the most powerful and arguably one of the most brutal
Save your
tribes
shot
in
until
all
you're
of
sure.
American history.
Enjoy your future.
And it is such a good book. It's
we need
hor-
to
it's
find
horrific.
Aya at some
I'm learning a lot about things
point.
that not only American settlers did to Native peoples, but also what Native peoples did to other tribes and to American settlers, and it's pretty gnarly. And if you want a different look at how Texas and the West was developed, you should definitely read that book. So skip forward a couple hundred years, and here we are in present day. The Park Service recommends visiting this park in the winter or early spring, as temperatures soar well over 100 degrees most of the year. But don't be fooled by a 100-degree day. Typical of a desert climate, when the sun sets, temperatures fall dramatically, and a blazing hot day can quickly end well below freezing. Also, we talked about one of the biggest features of Big Bend in the episode about the mysterious disappearance of Glenn and Bessie Hyde. The park was named for the vast curve of the Rio Grande. Also, in Texas, the Rio Grande forms a boundary between the United States and Mexico, and this park runs along it for about 100 miles, meaning that this park has a more difficult time enforcing park rules and regulations. And that is exactly what Park Ranger Carrie Brown was doing on the morning of March 31st, 2000. That morning, Carrie Brown had decided to get an early start on his day, patrolling the park for illegal activity not uncommon in the area. Within an hour of monitoring the park's main road, he noticed a pickup truck speeding along the roadway. Brown pulled the vehicle over and was making his way to the driver's window, mentally preparing his no speeding spiel, when he noticed something strange from under the tarp covering the bed of the truck. Peeking under the corner, he discovered hundreds of pounds of individually wrapped blocks of marijuana. This routine traffic stop just took its first turn into a drug bust. Brown approached the window and requested that the two men step out. Suddenly, the passenger reaches down, grabs a bottle of water, and bolts. He whipped the door open and booked it straight into the desert. Not wanting to chase after him and risk the driver taking off, Brown immediately radios for backup. Both the National Park Service and the U.S. Border Patrol are dispatched, and a group of rangers are sent out on foot and on horseback to track down the runaway. Meanwhile, Brown took the driver down to headquarters and questioned him. Turns out the marijuana in the truck weighed in at 400 pounds and was worth millions of dollars. The driver kept his mouth shut and denied knowing who the passenger was. He stated he was just some guy he was giving a ride to. Not getting anywhere, Brown hands off the investigation to the DEA, and it was pretty good timing, as just 4 hours later, rangers searching for the man in the desert discovered something that would give Brown an entirely new problem to solve. Deep into the park, in a remote area called Dagger Flat, a group of searchers stumbled upon something strange. A patch of red stuck out against the desert landscape. As they approached, the details became clear. A red blanket was draped over chicken wire, which was wrapped around the body. The skull and the upper torso were protruding from a half-dug grave. A rope, pickaxe, shovel, and tent pegs were surrounding the area. The search for the runaway was immediately called off. They basically said, "We have some bigger fish to fry here."
Lucky him.
And I'm gonna just say this right now, because I'm sure he's gonna ask. I have no idea what happened to that guy.
I was gonna say, did he live because he ran out in the middle of the desert with a bottle of water? So,
Right, they were like, all right, we're not looking for him, so later days.
Good luck.
Like, I have no idea what happened to him. The body was still in clothing, a denim shirt with the word magic embroidered over the left pocket, and on its feet were size 13 Nikes. First thoughts were immediately, this must be drug related. This close to the border, most violent crimes stem from drug activity. But the scene was telling a different story. The scene seemed to be staged, with the grave, the chicken wire, the tent stake. Natural causes seemed to be off the table as well, and suicide didn't quite fit the bill. After all, he didn't bury himself. 2 days later, the remains were exhumed and brought to the medical examiner's office. And it is at this point that the Texas Rangers and the FBI join in. A trio of investigators was formed. Park Ranger Brown, FBI Agent French, and Texas Ranger Duncan were now on this case. The medical examiner reveals that the upper part of the body was mummified due to exposure to the elements of the desert. The body belonged to a male, and it was guessed that the body had been in the park anywhere from 3 weeks to 6 months. No physical trauma on the remains could be identified, and no cause of death could be determined due to the lack of soft tissue remaining on the body. But X-rays taken revealed a large medical screw in its left ankle. The team started looking through missing persons files from Texas, hoping to find any sort of lead. After poring through file upon file, a member of the team pulled one, the only file of a missing male with a pin in his left ankle. The missing persons report for a man named Shannon Roberts. Shannon Roberts was born in 1957 and grew up in Idaho in a family of artists and professors who all shared a love of nature. He was described as brilliant. He studied physics and eventually became very successful as a geophysicist for an oil company. By all accounts, he led a very normal life, traveling to Peru and Hawaii. He went camping and had friends. But when the economy dropped, he was laid off. He moved to San Antonio, about 400 miles from Big Bend National Park, and began medical school at the University of Texas. At the age of 43, he thought that the money and the prestige of becoming a
you
doctor
can say University
was a
of
good
Texas
decision.
all you want, but
by
which
his
one?
third year,
Like
he began to
Austin,
realize
Dallas?
that he was struggling to keep up with the program.
Guess for the time it would have
He
been
was falling behind
Austin.
in class, his grades were suffering, and student loan debt proved itself to be a huge financial problem for Shannon.
Yeah, it would have had to have been
Investigators began
Austin.
questioning students at the university about him. My sources varied on who actually filed the initial missing persons report back in March of 2000, whether it was Shannon's father or one of his classmates. But either way, the investigators wanted to question his classmates to gather more information about him. And one of them, named Jason Shorestone, told investigators that he appeared to be increasingly depressed, and he spoke to him about not having any direction in life. They also spoke to one of his friends, named Ray McQueen, who mentioned that at one point he did have a lover who he only referred to as Sweet Thing. Other than knowing that nickname and that his lover was male and that they had been arrested together at some point in the past, he had no idea who he was. 10 days after Shannon's body was discovered, investigators made their way to his apartment. What they found was like a hoarder's paradise, cluttered with junk. Stacks of books, collectibles, clothing, animal skulls piled high throughout the space. It had little paths between everything that you needed to follow to get from room to room. They spoke with the apartment manager, who told them that he often had a lot of younger people coming in and out on a regular basis. And some even had their own key and would be there when Shannon wasn't even home. And one of those people was Michael Baker. Baker grew up in San Antonio with his mother after his parents divorced when he was 6. He went to private Christian schools but had a little bit of a rebellious side. He was 16 when he and his friend Travis were not invited to return back to private school. And it was then Mike entered the public school system for the first time. And it was when he walked into Tom C. Clark High School, his world opened up to cars, girls, and drugs. He was mesmerized by this new utopia and all the fun possibilities that it opened up for him. It was also then, in the summer of 1997, when he was first introduced to Shannon by his girlfriend, who lived in the same apartment complex. Mike had wanted to buy cigarettes when his girlfriend suggested they go to Doc's, the older guy a few apartments down, who was weird but was a medical student and had access to pills, and who would buy him whatever he wanted. Mike was hesitant at first, but his girlfriend insisted. After all, her and her brother would go to his apartment and hang out there all the time. She is one of the people who even had a key, and the pair let themselves into the apartment and made themselves comfortable. Time passed as Mike took in the surroundings of the apartment, filled with clutter, a TV, and a lazy boy. Finally, they heard the doorknob turn, and in walked Shannon Roberts, aka Doc. Mike recalls him as smart weird, the kind of person that strikes you as strange right off the bat. And it didn't take long for that feeling to become valid, and it was here, in their very first meeting, when Doc turned to Mike and, casual as ever, asked, "Have you ever thought about killing someone?"
Hi, I'm Dr. Andreas Michaelitis, chief psychologist at Noom. So what's Noom and why does Noom need a chief psychologist? Noom is a weight loss program that works, with results that last. Because we know that changing the way you eat starts with your mind. With Noom's proven psychology-backed tools, one-on-one coaching, and flexible plans that emphasize progress over perfection, you'll have the tools you need to change your relationship with food. So sign up at Noom.com now and lose the weight for good. That's NOOM.com.
Saturday and Sunday, December 11th and 12th. Be the first to explore the all-new-to-market Bonita Oaks Ranch during the grand opening land sale. Get your 5-acre ranch from just $79.9 or own your new barn-to-building style of 5 acres on sale for only $124.9. Live within minutes of world-class entertainment and an easy drive to the big city attractions of Fort Worth. Plus, enjoy modern community amenities like high-speed internet, paved roads, electric, and serene ponds that will make you feel right at home in the beautiful Texas countryside. Don't wait. Get your 5-acre ranch from just $79.9 or own your new barn-dominium shell in 5 acres for only $124.9. During the Bonita Oaks Ranch grand opening land sale, December 11th and 12th. Excellent land financing is available, so call today to schedule your visit. 877-333-8830. 877-333-8830. Or go online to BonitaOaksTX.com. Prices for a new barn-dominium shell will be built on a private process for Bonita Oaks Ranch.
First time in his apartment, and that's the first, if you ask that ever, it's creepy, but literally you just meet this person. And so he's selling drugs too. You did mention he's a medical student and has access to pills that he's selling to his neighbors. Is that right?
Well, yeah, so you'll see as the story goes on, he wasn't selling it, he was literally giving it to them. So here's this 40-something-year-old man inviting teenage kids into his apartment, welcoming them into his space, and providing them with drugs, alcohol, a free space to, kind of just throw all the rules out the window. It was
Okay, this immediately gives me creep vibes.
He didn't even have to say, "Would you ever kill someone?" or "Have you thought of killing someone?" It was just odd off the bat, and that's exactly what those vibes that Mike had. It was just odd,
Yeah.
So Doc may have seemed a little off, but what he offered far trumped any weird vibes. Doc's apartment was party haven, and it regularly drew groups of teens for what it had to offer. Like I said, it was a place absent of parents and rules. And Doc may have been struggling financially. Like I said, his student loan debt was something that was really difficult for him to deal with. And he also had substance abuse issues of his own. He was actually in AA for 10 years before this. But somehow he managed to supply the teens with weed, alcohol, coke, LSD, mushrooms, anything they wanted, he would do and get for them. They would get high together and watch Faces of Death, which contained footage of car accidents, assassinations, and botched surgeries. And I actually had to look up this Faces of Death thing, and because I think it's just like slightly before our time, and it's not clear to me whether it was actual footage or just really dramatized footage to look real of really messed up situations, but it was his thing. He always had it playing.
Ooh, that makes this so much creepier.
It gets worse.
What kind of college kid would walk into this? Oh, they're teenagers. Yeah. I mean, I used to talk to some older people to buy me some free booze, but I mean, I certainly, it was more of one of those things that was like, oh, yeah, totally. And then they buy me booze and be like, hey, bye.
Yes,
I wouldn't
this
actually
was
go inside like a building with them.
that. This was not the case in this situation. And this went on for a really long time. And
I hate this so much already.
they would actually even watch snuff films. I'm like, I don't know if I'm just so innocent. I had to look up what it was.
I know what snuff films are, and that's
So for people who don't, I guess I knew what they were, I just didn't know what the terminology was. So snuff films are when people are being killed on camera, on film. And if anyone has watched Don't Fuck with Cats on Netflix, it's essentially about snuff films. Either way, don't love snuff films, but this guy did. Shannon Roberts, aka Doc, did. And he would play them with the teens around. And he would become obsessive when speaking about mortality and death, and he'd bring it up all the time. Conversations would always go to dark places, and Doc would talk to them about wanting to die and how he wanted his death to become a snuff film. Mike remembers him also delving into his sexual preferences and how he spoke about his fantasies of S&M and being choked by other men. But Doc also did other things. He helped them. He would help them with their homework, gave them free rides, and took interest in their personal lives. When he found out that Travis, Mike's friend, was interested in possibly becoming a dentist, Doc snuck him into the cadaver lab at his medical school to show him the teeth and mouths of the dead.
Ew, this is feeling very predatory. You know, it's
Yes.
like, I do all this creepy stuff, but I'm also doing all this really nice stuff for you, too. And, like, might be construed as cool for a teenager. And then it's like, and then on the other hand, you're doing all this weird, creepy shit.
It's very predatory. And like you said, some of the people might have thought that it was cool and all of that, but as the story goes on, you'll see that I think they understood just how odd he was, but they were taking advantage of him for what he was providing them with. Kind of like, well, he's creepy and weird, and we think that something's wrong with him, but he's also giving us all this stuff. Like, he would buy them clothes, give them money, obviously give them access to things like alcohol and cigarettes they couldn't just go down to the store and buy at the time. So they were basically taking advantage of him at this point.
Yeah, they were getting something out of it. It was the only reason why they were staying and being friendly. They were probably like, yeah, this is so cool. I need $20. Do you have it?
But going off of the predatory thing, he also attempted advances at some of the young men. He would place his hand on their thighs, attempt to play wrestle with them, and would sometimes strip down to his underwear in their presence. All of this was unwanted, and some of the teens were pretty disgusted by it and stopped coming by to hang out. But the ones that stayed justified it. Like I said, their attitude was, well, that's just Doc, that's just how he is, he's weird. Mike and his friends took advantage of what he offered them. Meanwhile, they would make fun of him when they were in school. And while the back and forth talk about wanting to die, questions of if they would ever kill someone for money, and weird movies, while that all got annoying, they dealt with it.
It seems like it's all leading up to something.
You're getting good at this whole figuring out where the story's going.
We've read a lot of stories recently, and I just feel like all of this information is kind of adding up to explain what we heard at the beginning of the episode.
So while it may have all seemed like fun and games to some of these teens, Doc was seriously struggling. In his third year of medical school, like I said, he was starting to fall back on courses, and he actually failed his psychiatry rotation, which kind of upset him. I mean, seems fitting, yeah, he failed that.
Seems kind of
that.
fitting. He's probably not psychologically all there.
And he was also living off of different loans, and he was borrowing money from his parents. You have to think about it, like, I think back to college, and there were certainly times that I was struggling for money, and I was living off of loans, but I was also 20. I wasn't 43, who was a geophysicist in the past, and was, you know, it's different when you're in your mid-40s and you're having all these problems, having to borrow money from your parents, and it just puts you in a different mental state. I think when you're younger and struggling, you can justify it in your mind of like, well, I haven't made it in the world yet. But for him, it was really difficult to deal with.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone around him was successful and had homes and had money, and maybe that's why he hung out with teenagers too, as they were all broke and in school, or maybe that's one of them, but it kind of seems more like he's a predator. But it sounds like he just doesn't have his life together. And I mean, borrowing money from your parents when you're 20 is like, yeah, I'm broke and a mess, thank you. And when you're 40, it's like, oh, I'm supposed to be right now.
So while he was borrowing money from his parents actually didn't really know much about what was going on in his life. He tried to put on a good face around them and during phone calls, saying that while school was difficult, he was making do and that he was still chugging along with his program, even though he stopped attending school in September of 1999. And his parents also didn't know that he was gay. So he had kind of like a double life going on that he hid from a lot of people. As time went on and his situation became more dire, Doc turned to his teenage friends with increased urgency. He repeatedly asked them, would you kill someone for money? Would you kill me for money? How much would it take? Come on. And it was always returned with some form of, hell no, man, no way. Why would you ask me that? Discouraged by the lack of support from his quote-unquote friends, Shannon turned to the classifieds. He put ads in the San Antonio's underground gay newspaper with words signifying his interests, such as autoaerobic asphyxiation. He had some interest and even met with several different men on different occasions, but to no avail. Things would start going good, you're on a date, you're getting to know people, you're obviously meeting over a similar interest. But as soon as the whole death and dying and would you kill me subject came up, everyone kind of just dipped out of there. So Shannon was into what's called autosassinophilia, which is the sexual fetish of wanting to be killed. And all this rejection was getting very frustrating. He wanted to die. He just didn't want to kill himself. He had a very specific vision, but he just couldn't find anyone to bring it to life. This was brought to the attention of investigators by an anonymous caller who responded to one of his ads. He explained that he met up with Shannon thinking he was in for a night of roleplay, only to be frightened off when he was offered money to kill Shannon.
That's so scary.
Well, so I have a couple of thoughts on this. So it's scary for sure for the person on the receiving end of this who has no idea what this man's intentions were, because I see on one hand, you don't want to just put in the paper, will you come kill me for money? I'll pay you if you come kill me. You know, so for the person responding to that, it's a very unfair position to be put into, because you're thinking you're just going over for some kinky sex and a good time. And now you're being put in a position of,
will you murder me?
Will you murder me? Yeah.
Whoa,
So-
I thought we were doing some like weird shit, but that's it's a little much.
Yeah, exactly. And as far as, you know, all the people responding to him about the autoerotic asphyxiation, Like, everyone has different sexual interests and kinks and all of that, and we're not shaming any of that. We're just shaming the fact that he didn't properly inform the people consenting to a sexual encounter with him that this was not just purely sexual, and this was turning into something totally different, that they didn't want to. It's like, okay, I just wanted to have sex, I didn't want to murder you, so I'm leaving.
Sorry. Kind of the opposite problem that women have, you know? It's like,
Definitely.
please murder me, and women are like, please don't murder me. I have to laugh
okay.
at that, but, you know.
You gotta make light of things, or we would all just be sad and crying all the time. Well, have you seen that thing of, if it was only women for 24 hours in the world, what would you do?
And women are like, I would walk home alone at night, and
Yeah.
I would wear a short skirt, and I would go to the bar by myself, and
It's like, these are things that we have to think about every second of every day. I mean, I go into my car, and before I even get in, I look in the back seat. As soon as I sit in the car, I lock the door. It's just things that have become such second nature that you don't really think about why you're doing it. And then when you actually reflect on why you're doing it, it's really sad that that's what it's come to for a lot of women in the world.
I mean, every woman has something that they do. Like, when I walk in a parking lot, I never look at my phone, and I'm never on my phone in a parking lot ever. And whenever I'm walking through a parking lot or by myself and I have my keys in my hand, I always have a key between my fingers. Punch someone with a key, it's like my own little mini, like, brass knuckles, but with keys, I'll put them through, like, a couple fingers. Just things that you have to think about. And then I always try to look mean when I don't look mean. So
Okay, that's never gonna work for you, so I would get another.
I'm like smiling, but I'll like try not to.
Oh my god, we can go down a rabbit hole with that one, but that's not what the story is about.
Yeah,
Moving on.
A little off topic.
Okay, where was I? At this point, investigators had pieces, but they were struggling to fit them together. Then, while poring over records, they found an arrest report from 1997. Recalling that Ray McQueen, Shannon's friend that they had interviewed earlier, stated that he got arrested with his lover, Sweet Thing, during that year, they were determined to uncover his identity. Maybe Sweet Thing was the missing link, the person who killed Shannon. The report did indicate that Shannon and another man were pulled over and arrested after cocaine was discovered in the man's backpack. And that backpack belonged to none other than Michael Baker. The team didn't want to alert Mike that they knew something was up, and that they had suspected that he had a link to Shannon's death. During their initial questioning, they interviewed him at his mother's house and asked basic questions about his friendship with Doc. At the time of the questioning, Mike was 20 years old, jobless, and living at home with his mom. Divulged details on their odd friendship, but despite the nickname Shannon had for him, he denied ever having a sexual relationship with him. He also said that he hadn't seen him in a while. When asked if he had ever visited Big Bend, he said, yeah, maybe once or twice when I was a kid on family vacations. But his mother shot him a weird look and corrected him, saying that they had never been there before. Carrie Brown recalled that as an odd flag, but the interview was otherwise normal, and Michael was charming and nonchalant. They found no evidence of a sexual relationship, and they left their interview thinking that was the last time they would hear of Michael Baker.
That little sentence right there of that he thought maybe once or twice as a kid, I don't think that's super odd, because you might have gone camping somewhere as a kid and you might be like, oh yeah, I've been to Big Bend before, and just not realized it was somewhere a couple hours south of there or something. So that wouldn't strike me super odd, but maybe because you added it to the story this year.
Yeah, you'll see, but it is a good point. I mean, recalling things from when you're a kid is difficult, and especially he grew up in the area. I'm sure that's the closest national park to them. So, you know, why not think that you went camping there when you were a kid? You know, it could go either way, so I see that point. And I think they maybe took that into consideration as well, because, like Carrie Brown said, like, it was a little weird, and he kind of thought twice about it, but it was nothing in any way to tie him to anything at this point. So the case stalled for years. Baker went on with his life. His relationship with his girlfriend became more serious. They got a husky and named him Jinx, and they moved in together. He got a good job, started classes at Southwest Texas University in San Marcos, And he was putting the whole Doc situation and the odd time that he spent with that older guy in the past. 2 years after the discovery of Shannon Roberts' body in Big Bend National Park, the investigators weren't really making any headway until Shannon's finances were examined. They noticed charges stopping around the estimated time of his death, but then they continued. One charge was for a hotel in New Orleans during Mardi Gras. The hotel was contacted and questioned in regards to whose name the charges were linked to. Let's take a look. Keys clicked as the computer was searched. Ah, right here. Michael Baker.
I gave him the benefit of the doubt. That gave me chills a little bit. I'm like, no,
Not him.
he just got a husky named Jinx with his girlfriend.
It can't be him.
It can't be him.
So this time, Baker was brought in for questioning again, and it was not at his mother's house in just a nice casual conversation. He was brought into the station, and the interview was a lot more serious. The questions were more poignant and direct. Baker was hesitant this time around too, and didn't give the team much to go on. But the team had ammo. Using someone's stolen credit card is a felony. One of the team members did something brilliant. He wrote the words, "debit card abuse," on a piece of paper, tore it out of the notepad, flipped it upside down, and slid it in front of Baker. He said, "We know you committed a felony on that piece of paper. On the other hand, we know that Roberts wanted to die." Fun fact, in Texas, assisted suicide is a misdemeanor, carrying a much lighter sentence than credit card fraud. They told him they'd recommend the prosecutors drop the charge if he was to cooperate. Pinned, Baker took a swig of the Coke Ranger Duncan had just bought him, sat back in his chair, and told them everything.
Streaming only on Peacock.
John Wayne Gacy killed 32.
Straight from the killer's mouth.
They want you to believe that I alone committed these murders.
The new gripping 6-part documentary series, John Wayne Gacy, Devil in Disguise. All episodes streaming now, only on Peacock.
It seemed as if Doc eventually let go of the sexual component of his death fantasy and left it as he just simply wanted to die.
The Orkin
He
Archive
wanted
has led
his
us
life
this
to end,
location.
and he
Defend the
begged
extractors
Michael
until
Baker
you
to
find
do
an
it,
Arkwing Park
incessantly,
blueprint.
over months and months, even showing up to his mother's house after Baker stopped going to his apartment. Baker gave in and agreed to kill Shannon Roberts for the big price tag of $1,000.
Hold on, what? $1,000?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, he did have financial problems. I'm not sure how he would have paid him more than that, I guess.
There's that, and at the time, Michael Baker was a young kid, and who also had some drug problems. That for $1,000, how much can you get with that? And to us now, $1,000 is definitely not worth killing somebody over. I mean, no price is worth killing somebody over, but to him, it was a lot of money. In early February of 2000, the pair drove to Big Bend National Park. Doc drove while Baker slept in the back seat. Doc knew exactly what he wanted. He wanted to die, but he didn't want to just go anywhere. The area around San Antonio just didn't feel right to him, but the Chisos Mountains of Big Bend National Park reminded him a little bit of home in Idaho. He had scouted the area before. Park records indicate that he had been to this area on January 18th as a solo hiker. When they arrived at the park's entrance, no one was at the gate, but Doc signed in anyway, wrote his name down for the destination of Dagger Mountain. The pair drove 20 miles into the park to Old Ore Road, a scarcely visited, unpaved road to one of the most unexplored areas of the park. The two got out of their car and walked a ways, Doc leading them further and further away from the road. He suddenly stopped and turned to Baker. It was clear he had been here, to this very spot. Baker looked past Doc's shoulder to the marked ground. Doc had been here all right, and he had already dug his own grave.
Just imagine being Michael, showing up to this area. There's already a grave there. I'm sure he's already super nervous that entire car ride. And then he gets to the location, it's time, and he already has a grave dug for him.
And it's in a very remote area of an already very unique part. It's just bizarre. The whole thing is just bizarre.
Part of me would think, like, am I getting murdered now?
Yeah, like, are the tables gonna turn? What is happening?
Head to
I'd be
extraction
scared.
when you are ready.
Yeah, and you have to realize, like, this has been going on. He has now known Doc for years. He was 16 when he met him, and this is years later. Like, this has been something that he has been asking of him and others around him for a very long time. Shannon planned where he wanted to die, but he also put a lot of thought into how. He explained to Baker that he wanted to be tied down to the tent stakes, spread eagle, and he wanted to be cut open. He wanted to be disemboweled. Worried that young Baker, already reluctant, could not do as he pleased, he added insurance. Shannon locked the $1,000 in his mailbox, filed down the mailbox key as small as possible, wrapped it in plastic, and swung it.
The excavator
Baker
has
would
run
have
out
to
of power.
open him up
Find
to get it.
cell.
Oh, that's so morbid and horrible. Oh, and also, I mean, he must have had a very serious drug problem because $1,000 to not only kill someone, but to actually cut him open alive, to dig out a key, and also your intestines are filled with, I mean, it's already digested, it's filled with poop, you know, like,
need
and you're gonna
another
cut
power
that
cell for
open
the
and dig around.
excavator.
Oh, God.
It reminds me of a Saw situation. Like, before Saw was a Saw, you know, because this is before all that. It was definitely very involved, and he had obviously thought about it very extensively. But, like, how you kind of said, like, how he would do that for $1,000, Baker started freaking out. He was saying, I can't do it, it's too much, this is crazy. Like, it would be one thing if it's like, okay, I want to die, here's a gun, shoot me. Even though that in and of itself is wild, and I don't think I could ever do that. But it's way less traumatizing than cutting someone open who is tied down and alive. But Doc was persistent. They were already here. They had come all this way, and he had wanted this for so long. Doc began freshening up the grave, digging it up a little deeper. Meanwhile, Baker is becoming more and more distraught. There is just no way he could do this. He argued with him, and tensions rose. Finally, Baker snapped, grabbed his shovel, and struck him as hard as he could. He says, quote, I remember expecting him to drop like they do in the movies. I hit him twice, right on top of his head, as hard as I could. It was like nothing. He was bleeding profusely, but it didn't faze him. That fucked me up. You see all these goddamn movies. You hit someone with a broomstick and they fall right over. I put everything I had into hitting him with that shovel, and nothing. They both gave up and began their journey home. They even stopped at Subway. Doc was bleeding and clearly beaten. They were both sweaty and dirty. It must have been quite the sight. When they pulled back into San Antonio, Baker remembers Doc looking at him, defeated, saying, I really hadn't planned on coming back into town.
Hold on, so he didn't kill him? Then what are you doing to me and us, everyone listening? We all were just like, that's what happened. And then you're like, no. Then they go home and they eat Subway. Like, how did this happen? Who did this?
Could you just imagine? First of all, the ride there. Like, okay, I'm now sitting in the back of a car with someone who wants me to kill him, and we're driving to the area where I'm about to commit murder. I'm gonna have to then commit murder, and then I'm gonna have to drive home by myself, knowing that I just left somebody in the desert dead. But now, you have to wrap your mind around the, okay, I just attempted to beat the brains out of someone. It didn't work, and he's alive, and we both just shrugged at each other and like, okay, well, that didn't work. And then you're driving home and you stop for a sub. Like, what?
Like, he's sitting in the seat next to him, and he's just bleeding, and they both ordered a foot long.
Yeah, it's just a bizarre situation.
I mean, everything about this story is super bizarre, so... okay, tell me what happened.
Okay. So, it didn't take long for Shannon to badger him again. In the days following the botched attempt, once again, Baker caved. This time around, Shannon offered him $4,000 to finish the job. And Michael can't remember the exact date, but he does admit to driving back to the same exact location around the 10th of February. Doc was standing in the grave, egging him on, grabbing him, shaking him, saying mean things to him, getting him angry on purpose, as if he wanted to ensure that this time he would really be killed. Eventually, Baker picked up a piece of rope, grabbed him from behind, and strangled him. Baker recalls Doc struggling towards Shannon and thinking if he had changed his mind or if it was just his body's natural reaction to the lack of oxygen. But it was too late for second thoughts now. Doc was dead. He wrapped his body in chicken wire to keep the coyotes from consuming it, filled the hole partially, and covered him with a red blanket. He drove out of the park in a daze of panic and relief. He vividly remembers listening to Brave by Faith Hill and Fast Car by Tracy Chapman over and over on the way back to San Antonio. He went to Doc's mailbox to collect the money, only to find there was less than $2,000 waiting for him.
Wow. So less money than you thought. Also very sneaky, Doc. And maybe you should have got a deposit beforehand. I don't know, like
it just didn't work out, you know?
just, I mean, I don't know. Could have been no money in there. There could have been all the money in there. Doesn't matter. It's still a messed up situation.
So Michael Baker was arrested and charged with first-degree murder and sent to Reeves County Jail. For 10 weeks awaiting trial, he planned to escape. He called his lawyers and asked if there was any chance of pleading down to second-degree murder. And once he found out the odds were not in his favor, he executed his grand plan. He had stolen street clothes, put them on underneath his jail uniform, and when his unit was called for rec time, he snuck into a mop closet where he shed his uniform and snuck out through the ventilation system. He landed on the sidewalk and was almost immediately questioned by a jailer. He said, "Baker, what the hell are you doing out here?" He quickly made up a story about making bail, and they actually shook hands, and the jailer wished him good luck. He walked away, and as soon as he turned the corner and out of sight, he bolted. He hopped a train and rode away from jail throughout the night. Exhausted and with little options of where to go, he ended up calling his lawyer, who told him that the U.S. Attorney's Office was offering a plea deal for second-degree murder, providing that he turned himself in. Baker agreed. His escape had lasted fewer than 36 hours. Baker's dad said he did get a kick out of the entire thing, and his friend Travis even said, "How stupid, you should have gone to Mexico." He pleads guilty to the charge of murdering Shannon Roberts on November 13, 2003, and was sentenced to 210 months in prison. Many of Baker's classmates don't associate with him because of what he did, while others stick by him, saying that Doc was sick and that he preyed on Baker, who at the time was just a confused kid who got in too deep and couldn't get out. Baker says, quote, "Did I want to kill him? No, of course not. Was it easy to talk myself into? No. However, once it was done, it felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. Do I view myself as a psycho or a sociopath? No. I have taken psych courses to know the signs. I think what I did was make a very deliberate, almost logical decision. I made that choice, and to this day, I am still content with it." In Idaho, Shannon Roberts' mother planned to scatter his ashes in a meadow on top of a mountain, the same place where his grandparents' ashes were also scattered. The last time Shannon had visited Idaho, back in 1997, him and his father had hiked up to that very meadow. There was no official service, and Doc's parents eventually told their friends that their son had fallen while hiking. In an interview from prison, Michael Baker told writer Rachel Monroe, quote, "I remember the last time he was down in that hole, digging. I was thinking it would be so easy just to get this over with, because I really didn't want him to come back to my car. And so I grabbed the rope and tossed it around his neck." Doc tried to clamber out of the hole, but couldn't. It was too deep. He swung the pickaxe at Baker, who dodged it easily. Finally, he stopped struggling. After a long pause, Rachel asked Michael, so he didn't want to die, to which Baker let out an odd, strangled half laugh. It sure didn't seem like it, and that is the story of the death of Shannon Roberts.
Wow. That is one of the creepiest ones we've told on this podcast. Also, side question. They originally told him that it would be assisted suicide and it was a misdemeanor, but that was just a ploy to get him to admit to it.
So, that's a really good question because I was very confused about that. So I saved this. So in this article that I read, it does say the card fraud was a possible felony charge, investigators told Baker, but assisted suicide was a Class C misdemeanor in Texas. Strictly speaking, this is true, but only if the assist doesn't result in serious injury or death. If it does, then it's a felony. So I also don't understand that because
assisted suicide, so you can't actually help. You can't be successful in the assisted suicide or you get charged with felony.
Right, that is what I gather from that. That had a lot of twists and turns and ups and downs, and there's, of course, a lot of layers to the mental state of Doc and kind of what obviously he had a lot of issues because while I was researching the story, I went back and forth with emotions of like feeling bad for him and people were making fun of him in a bad situation in life, and obviously he was struggling in a lot of areas of life. But that's no excuse to take advantage of underage children or underage kids and show them snuff films and try and make advances on them, unwanted advances. It's just...
I feel bad for the person he was when clearly he had had something traumatic happen to him, and I feel bad for the person that he was before he turned into the person that he became, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah.
So I feel bad for that person, but the person that he became a predator, it's kind of like there's no sympathy there anymore. You're not right, and you have a lot of mental issues going on here, and the predator part, and I mean, he really needed some help somewhere.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate that he didn't get it. So that's the end of that story. I have a whole book on different deaths that have happened in Big Bend National Park. And if you would like to read it, it's called Death in Big Bend, Real Stories of Death and Rescue in Big Bend National Park by Lawrence Perrin. So I would definitely look into that. If you want some light bedtime reading, go ahead. That's about it, unless you have anything else to add.
No, thanks for sharing that story. I think we're all going to have some nightmares tonight, but it was a good one.
Thank you everyone so much for joining us today. If you want to keep up with us between our episodes every Monday, you have a couple options. We have a Instagram and Facebook. You can find us there at National Park After Dark. You can send us an email at npadpodcast@gmail.com. And we do also have a website, npadpodcast.com, that has a listener form submission link. So if you have a personal experience of something creepy going on in a national park, national forest, state park, we would love to hear about it. That form can be accessed through our website. We also have a list of our book recommendations that we talk about throughout the episodes and that we use for references for our stories. I think that's it. So in the meantime, enjoy the view.
But watch your back.
Bye everyone.
Bye guys. I'm sorry, did you say Chihuahua Desert?
Is it Chihuahua Desert?
No, there's an N at the end of it. It's Chihuahuan.
Okay, it's literally just in that one. Because I'm like, shit, I know I wrote it was a Chihuahua Desert. I was just picturing like a bunch of little chihuahuas and like... My bad. Wrong. So wrong.
Frontier presents A Guide to Holiday Gift Giving. You've made your list.
Convenient system for
Jr., a smart speaker for the missus, a tablet for grandma.
But there's one thing it's missing.
A new 4K TV for me?
Actually, the speed and reliability of Frontier's 100% fiber optic network that can turn a good gift into a great one. Like 25 times faster upload speeds than cable. Get our fiber gig service for $74.99 per month with autopay, plus a $200 Visa reward card on us. Exclusive offer for qualified households only. Go to frontier.com/getfiber for complete offer details. Service is subject to availability and all applicable terms and conditions.
Streaming only on Peacock.
John Wayne Gacy is suspected of having killed as many as 32.
Straight from the killer's mouth.
They want you to believe that I alone committed these murders.
The new gripping 6-part documentary series that investigates the crimes that shocked the nation.
The thing everybody thought they knew wasn't the whole story.
John Wayne Gacy, Devil in Disguise. All episodes streaming now.
Excavator deployed. Protect the unit while it extracts the artifact.
Streaming only on Peacock.
John Wayne Gacy was suspected of having killed as many as 32.
Straight from the killer's mouth.
They want you to believe that I alone committed these murders.
The new gripping 6-part documentary series that investigates the crimes that shocked the nation.
The thing everybody thought they knew wasn't the whole story.
John Wayne Gacy.
Where am I gonna find a cell?
All episodes.
These bastards got it.
Millions of people travel to Rocky Mountain National Park every single year for its tall peaks, dramatic alpine landscapes, the abundance of wildlife, and the solitude of the mountains. It is a place people escape to and take a break from their everyday life. People come here to bring their families and show their young children the beauties of the world. People travel here to conquer peaks and personal
The scanner has picked up a target.
Some people come here
Go
to
to the dig
propose
site.
the loves of their lives in places surrounding
Whoa,
the
bitches.
beautiful national park brings
Find
the
another
opportunity
cell.
to build beautiful memories. It also gives the opportunity for something much darker. Under the ponderosa pines, beside the wild daisies, in between the tallest peaks of the Rocky Mountains, lies a landscape of complete solitude. A place where no one could tell you secrets, and a place that you can get away from. Welcome to National Park After Welcome back, everyone, to National Park After Dark. My name is Danielle. My name is Cassie. Happy Monday, everybody.
That's it. You found an Arkham Park blueprint.
Mondays
Head to extraction when you are ready.
So we are here to bring you a variety day with some murdery and extremely morbid content.
I do have one thing to tell you that I saved for the podcast. It's so funny.
Okay.
Excavator is ready to go.
Okay,
Keep it
so
powered and protect it
last
from enemy
weekend,
fire.
you know how Ian and I went to
Fuck.
Ape Caves
Yes.
in Mount St. Helens. For those of you who don't know what the Ape Caves are, it's in the Mount St. Helens National Volcanic Monument area, and it's just a bunch of old lava tubes,
We need
and
another
you
power
go hike
cell
around
for
in
the
them, and it's
excavator.
beautiful. I had never been before, and I guess when you get
Excavator
there,
destroyed.
there's
Protect
an
the
entrance
remaining
that
dig
brings you down
sites.
to the caves, and you can either do the upper caves or the lower caves. And they're both about a mile and a half, 2 miles in length, but one of them is easier than the other. So we took the quote-unquote more difficult one, upper caves, and we got stuck behind a group of Boy Scouts and their parents. The way that the hike was going is we kind of would go ahead of them, and then we'd fall behind them, and sometimes we're stuck with them, and because the tubes are linear, you know, there's only one way in, one way out. So this group is having a difficult time, so we kind of blow by them, and we eventually get out of the tubes, and it spits you out about 2 miles into the woods, and you have to hike 2 miles back to the trailhead and where the parking lot is. We get out, and we're having our sandwiches and just hanging out, and all of a sudden we see 5 people come out. There's 3 adults and 2 kids, and the adults are our age, in their 30s, and they are not part of the Boy Scout group. They are just random guys.
Okay.
And the two kids that were with them had gotten way far ahead of their goals. And they kind of just piggybacked along with this random group of guys. And they're like, hey, are you guys headed back to the trailhead? And we said yes. And and this guy goes, do you mind taking this kid? Like, he really has to go to the bathroom. And what? We're like, okay. So this group of guys takes off in the other direction with the other kid, because the other kid didn't want to go back yet. And so now we're stuck with this kid, and he is so unhappy, and he's sweating, profusely sweating.
Dude, now I need a neuro.
My boyfriend is trying to give him words of encouragement, like, oh, just keep going, bud, keep going, trying to keep his mind off things, you know, asking him what he does for school and sports and stuff like that. And he's just sweating, and then all of a sudden he's like, I just gotta go to the bathroom so bad. And Ian's like, is it number 1 or number 2? And I turn around, and the kid's like, number 2. I'm like, oh no. Of course it's number 2. So we wait for this kid to, because he's like, I'm gonna go in my pants. Like, I have to go. So we waited for this random
Where's a
kid
good place to farm
go off the
neuros?
trail, take care of business in whatever way he did, which I feel like was not in the right way. Comes back. We have to hike with him another 1.5 miles back to the parking lot. And then we're like, what do we do with you?
Because now
family.
you just stole a Boy Scout.
We abducted a Boy Scout this weekend.
Found on Earth, Deimos,
And
Eris, and
we
Lua.
could've-
They are
if we had
based
ill
on
intentions,
opinions and may
he
not
would
be
have been a
100%
goner.
true.
He told us
Okay.
everything about him, where he
They're
lived,
rare.
what his family did. He was ready to go with us wherever, blindly.
Earth,
just
Mariana,
followed us. I was like,
exterminate.
hey, so next time, I know that we helped you out, I think, but just next time, don't just go with strangers, because it could end up really bad. And he was like, okay, whatever. And then we just
didn't care.
Guys, I gotta pee. I'll be back.
We pawned him off on a ranger. So whoever that is, thank you so much, because I had no idea what I was about to do. Hopefully that went over well, but hopefully it was a
Yeah.
lesson learned as well for that
What
kid.
an interesting trip to the Ape Caves. I'm sure you didn't expect to be doing half of it with a 10-year-old.
I know. It was, and you know me and children, I'm just uncomfortable.
I used to teach an outdoor education between ages like 10 to 12, and I actually really liked that age to hike with, and they were great. So I can imagine what your trip was like, especially when you're saying he was talking the whole time and telling you about his whole adventures.
Anyway, that was my short, weird story. Like, that stuff always happens to me. I don't understand. But enough about Washington. I hear we're going to Colorado today.
We sure are. Before we go to Colorado, though, let's talk just briefly about one. We always just like to mention our Patreon, because we do have 4 additional episodes, and we do have another episode coming out very soon on Patreon. Not an exact date is determined yet, because I am reading a book for this story, so I'm getting there. I'm almost done, but not exactly sure what date it's going to launch, but it will be before August, so it's going to be sometime in July. And if you are interested in joining our Patreon,
I love the smell of my soap. It's a mango.
.com and click on our Patreon link, or you can go over to our Instagram, National Park After Dark, and we have a link on there in our bio that you can click there. And then another thing is we still have merch launched. It's only going to be launched until the end of July, so if you're interested, go on our website now. Same thing, go on npadpodcast.com.
So this is a good place to farm it, so we're going to do this.
National Park After Dark, and you can find it there as well. And we have a lot of cool things. We have hoodies, we have the wine tumblers, we have lots of stickers, a lot of cool stuff on there, but it's only going to be available for this month.
Well, I think that's it. We kind of summed it all up.
Yeah.
Well, I'm ready to go to one of my top...
I need
think
neurodes,
top
baby.
3 to 5.
Rocky Mountain.
Yeah, I've been to Rocky Mountain 3 times.
Very cool.
Yeah, I really enjoy it there. every experience I've had there is different. And I've seen it in different seasons too, which is nice because it just changes throughout the year. You get a little something different as the seasons change. So I'm excited to go back.
Yeah.
You are surrounded by Grenier
fond
Marines.
memories.
I will bring you back to Rocky Mountain National Park, and as always, we are going to talk a little bit about the park before we go. So if you haven't heard of it, or you haven't been there and you want to know more, or if you have been there and you want to
stuck
know
under
more
the
that maybe you don't
stairs.
know about before, we're going to talk about it. The Rocky Mountain National Park is located in central Colorado, and it is approximately 30 miles from Denver, which makes it a really accessible national park because lots of people fly into Denver, and it's a pretty short drive to get to Rocky Mountain National Park from there. It was established as a park on January 26, 1915, and it is the third most visited park with around 4.6 million visitors just last year. The park is filled with mountains,
I don't feel very
alpine lakes,
surrounded,
and
my boy.
abundance of wildlife, both plants and animals. A big attraction inside of this park is Trail Ridge Road, which was established in the 1930s and is 12,183 feet in elevation. The park itself encompasses
Better get fucking narrows.
265,469 acres of federal land, and it also has 253,059 acres of U.S. Forest Service land. Rocky Mountain National Park is one of the highest parks in elevation in the country, with its lowest elevations being at 7,860 feet, and the highest points being Long Peak at 14,259 feet. The Continental Divide also runs directly through the center of Rocky Mountain National Park. There are 3 different life zones inside of the park. The first zone that is there is the Montane Zone. This is the lowest elevation of the park. It generally ranges under 9,000 feet. This area is filled with vast meadows, juniper and ponderosa pines, and blankets the area with blue spruce trees near the rivers. This area is filled with wildflowers in the summer, such as daisies and fairy slippers. This is generally the warmest part of the park because it's lower in elevation and also contains the most variety of wildlife. You can see elk and mule deer grazing in the meadows, lots of red squirrels feeding off the seeds of the pines, and coyotes and badgers are often seen in the area. The second zone is the Sub-Alpine Zone. This lies between 9,000 and 11,500 feet. And this area encompasses areas such as Bear
Mission
Lake
complete.
and the Long Peak.
I better have
Excellent
gotten a
attention.
neuroed. Are you
It's
shitting
filled
me?
with spruce
I didn't get a
trees.
neuroed.
In lower
Bruh, I need
elevations of this
one
area,
neuroed. Come on.
But this area is also filled with wildflowers in the winter months. Here is also a very good place to see deer and elk, stellar jays, but it is arguably the most likely that you will see a black bear or snowshoe hare here. The third zone that lies inside the national park is the Alpine Zone.
I can't.
This is located above 11,500 feet, and the trees here are much shorter and stunted in growth until they disappear altogether into the Alpine Tundra. Tundra is a Russian word for land of no trees, and here in the Rocky Mountain National Park, 1/3 of the park is Alpine Tundra, with rocks and many plants that are identical to the same ones that are found in the Arctic. So that being said, the Rocky Mountains, that is where we are heading today, and we're going to be talking about the murder. And we're going to be diving deep into the lives of Harold Penthorne and his wife, Toni Penthorne. I have not heard of this. You say that, but you might have once I start telling the story, because he was actually a very highly publicized case a while ago, and I actually remember when this happened, and I remember
God
reading
damn it, I'm stuck under the
article
fucking
in
stairs
magazine
again.
about this case, and I remember seeing it on the news as well. It is also a story that has been featured on Rocky Mountain as well, but it's such a amazing story that I just necessarily just cover it because there's so many different aspects to it, and I just thought that
that it was really interesting. We had quite a few people message us asking
Watch
us to
yourself.
cover it as
Grenier
well.
are on the way.
So when I get further into it, you might know or have heard of some of the things that we're going to talk about, but hopefully I can give a new perspective on the states. Oh, okay. So it might
Bro,
be
if I
some
keep getting
else.
stuck
It
under
may-
this
yeah,
fucking
story may
walkway.
ring some bells, but I can use it, so I'm ready. First, we'll talk a little bit about Tony. So Tony Henthorne, who was born in Delaware, was raised in Mississippi, and she was from a very loving family. She grew up as a child with her parents and two brothers, and growing up, she was always one of the smartest of the kids.
Broken their ranks and they are on the run.
She grew up
Another
to become
successful
an
mission.
ophthalmologist
Find
and
extraction.
surgeon, and she was very successful in her career. She was beautiful, she was wealthy, she was kind, and Tony's first marriage didn't end up working out, and she ended up getting a divorce. She did not have any children, but she wanted them very badly. But unfortunately, her love life was not as successful as her career was taking off. Her love life was taking a backseat while her career was taking off. But that all seemed to change when she met Harold Henthorne. Harold and Tony met in 1997, and Tony was 37 at the time. They met on the website christianmingle.com, and immediately they had a strong connection. They were both religious, and they both had had previous marriages. While Tony had gotten a divorce, Harold told her that he had lost his wife 2 years prior in a tragic car accident. Tony was immediately smitten with Harold, and when she brought him home to meet her family, they were as well. He was handsome, charming, and he really seemed to adore her. Harold seemed to have fallen for Tony's charm and her caring nature, and her family immediately approved of him. And although
Another
Tony was
job well
successful
executed.
herself, Harold
Bro,
seemed to
give
be
me a
very
fucking
successful as
neuro.
well. He had started his own company as a fundraising consultant for nonprofits. He had told Tony and her family that his business had been so successful that if Tony wanted to, she could quit her job. Although this was never something Tony or her family really cared about, as her family was very, very wealthy themselves. As they both wanted children and wanted to start a family, they decided that they would get married fairly quickly, and just after 1 year of meeting, they got married. Shortly after their marriage, Harold asked if Tony would move back to Denver, Colorado, where he was from originally. Tony was pretty hesitant at first, as her whole family and her friends were all in Mississippi and she had a life there. Originally, Harold had told her that he could do his job remotely and from anywhere. Eventually, though, she agreed, and they moved to Denver.
I'm already nervous with this, and because I know where it's going, I have a feeling, and I feel like all these, I don't know the word, like all of these small events that seem like they should be happy events, like he adored her and he wanted her to move back with him to his hometown, and they wanted to get married really fast, like all these things that seem in the moment good, it makes me very nervous.
They're almost like red flags.
Exactly. That's exactly what they are. Because they can be viewed two ways. It's like, okay, well, why do you want to get married so fast? Are you adoring or are you possessive? Do you want to move to Denver to be, you know, for work and for whatever? Or do you want to take her away from the Denver family? You know, like that's
Is
where
this
mine...
an isolation tactic, or is this a genuine want to go back to your own home? Yeah. After they moved to Denver, Colorado, she was very close to her family, so she was traveling back and forth from Mississippi to Colorado all the time, especially for any holidays. So she was going back for birthdays, and she was always going back for holidays, and Harold would travel with her
That was
as
dumb.
well.
I don't
so
like
they
that.
were always there for Christmas, Thanksgiving, every family holiday they would go back to Mississippi for. Her parents, though, soon noticed that Harold was becoming more and more controlling. Tony had been very close to her mother, but now they never
Playing the
spoke
assassination
about
note on
Harold.
Fantas.
Harold had connected his cell phone to the house phone,
And I
and whenever they
go.
would call, he would join in on the calls as well.
What? You can do that?
I didn't know you could do that, but I guess you can.
There it is. Here's
There
the
it is.
controlling thing. What did I just say 30 seconds ago?
Right?
You called it right away. So he would join in on these calls and he would playfully talk with them and he would brag about how well his business was doing and he would spend lots of time talking about himself and he would take up all the attention in the whole conversation, and he would do this so much so that Tony didn't talk much on these phone calls at all. And there was never a time for her to privately talk to her mom to talk about her life or anything that you normally would when your significant other isn't listening. So this was a red flag for them. But then they also noticed that they started to visit a lot less often, and Harold was finding all of these excuses for them not to go to Mississippi. Tony's family had to start visiting them in order to see them at all. Things started to look up though, and after years of trying, in 2005, Tony had a daughter named Haley. They had this beautiful family, and all things seemed to be going pretty well.
We do need to do some stuff on
in 2006, Harold had a close call in which he could have died. Tony's brother was a cardiologist, and one day when the couple was visiting in Mississippi, he asked Harold if he could do a CT scan on him because he just got a new machine for his practice and he wanted to practice using it. Harold agreed, and during the CT scan, they found that his arteries were so severely clogged that he was at risk of a heart attack at any moment. Harold was then rushed into emergency surgery, which almost certainly saved his life.
What are the chances? What are the chances?
Right, he's just like, can you check out this machine? Like, I'm sure everything's fine. I just
other
want to see how the imaging works. And if I like it, whatever. He's like, yeah, sure, sounds great. Free CT scan, why not? And then it's like, oh, you're about to die, like, get into surgery now.
Wow, that's nuts.
Yeah. So a few years later, Tony also had her own little dance with death in 2011. The couple had a remote cabin in Colorado that they would often spend time at, and late one night, while their daughter Haley was asleep, Harold asked Tony to help clean up some debris that was outside of the cabin. While she was standing below the raised porch, she had her back turned to Harold, and she suddenly felt something heavy hit the back of her neck, and it knocked her onto the ground very hard. It was a large piece of lumber that had mysteriously fallen off the porch.
How do you do, Outwelder? My mission is to conserve this region's unique species.
She had seen something in the ground she wanted to pick up and bent down for it, just as the lumber had hit her. If she hadn't moved in that exact moment, it would have hit her in the head and most likely
wasn't
killed her.
always about the preservation of life, more
below the porch,
strategic deletion of it.
Piece of
Conservation may be my calling now.
Onto her.
The scales
A
will
piece of
require an
lumber.
occasional
So it's not even
adjustment.
a piece of wood, it's like
Head
an
to the
entire
valves if you're looking for
log.
some work.
Okay, yeah, mysteriously. That's interesting.
Tony was pretty severely injured. She had numbness in her hands, and she was even worried for a period of time that she might never be able to perform surgery again. What was weird about this whole incident is when she finally got a hold of her mother a few days later to talk about what had happened, she mentioned it, and her mom immediately says, "What do you mean? What happened? When did this happen?" And Tony says,
to getting your hands
Harold
dirty.
didn't call you,
Send a
didn't tell
message.
you that I had this
I've
accident.
learned that the head of the Corpus
says
Repo
no.
Squad has
No
made a
one's
hit
told me
list
about
of
any
indebted Solaris.
Add the red flag
Before his goons can do their
That's
thing.
really sad.
I've
Imagine
got a
being her and just
K-bomb
having
with
this
his name on it.
brush with death.
Potassium?
Obviously, it's very serious,
not
and
what
then
we
going to
discussed.
call your mom for support,
Wait.
and like she
There's
had
a
no
Reaper
idea.
list?
Was she upset
Who's
with
on
Harold
it?
that he never called her?
Yeah, she was upset, and actually shortly
Okay.
after the incident at
Fine.
the cabin,
But
Tony
we do this
finally
my
had a
way.
chance to travel
No
home to
K-bombs.
Mississippi to visit her
Had
family
about
without
enough mess for
Harold.
one day.
And it was at this visit that her mom had the chance to confront her about the incident. Mother finally had a moment to speak with her, and Harold wasn't there, and she
What
said that
the
she was
fuck?
concerned about
God
the
damn it.
incident, and
Just
she was
maybe,
really concerned
Neff
that
doesn't find
it
out.
wasn't an accident.
Biz,
And it seemed suspicious,
the old
and
days.
she was concerned that
We've got
maybe
no leverage
Harold
now.
was behind the
all we can do is
accident.
try to
So
save our
something
people from
started to
getting
not
ground
add up
up by the
with Harold.
bureaucracy.
Harold was in charge of the finances between the
People are
couple,
already getting
but one
ground
day
up,
Tony
UD.
decided to look
Debt
into
on
their
debt,
accounts.
accident by
She
accident,
noticed
repo
that
by
they didn't
repo.
have nearly as much
How
money as
many
Harold
even
had made it
remember
seem.
actual
Her
freedom?
family had even given them $500,000 to buy their house in Colorado and whatever they needed, like
Well, I
cars
guess we're
and
doing a snack crate
appliances,
video.
things like that. And accounted for either. Harold had also not only become very controlling in Tony's personal life, but also in her work life as well. If there was ever to be a doctor's meeting inside of the hospital, Harold was there. Tony was also not allowed to schedule any appointments outside of her normal schedule without consulting Harold first. Her colleagues adored Tony and loved working with her. However, they had a very bad vibe from Harold,
Steal that list.
and they thought that
Don't
he was
get
very
noticed.
creepy. The
If they
office
destroy the
manager at
data,
her work in
we won't know
particular
who to hide
got
from
very
this
bad
Reaper
vibes
squad.
from him. But because they all loved Tony, they decided that they would accept Harold.
Why was he at her staff meeting?
Right?
Like, why is that a thing? Why was he there? That's so odd.
It's
Like,
so
you don't work
odd.
here, dude. Like, why are you here? Are you her babysitter?
It was just another thing that was showing how controlling he really was. I read another part about him in the Rolling Stones article written about this whole case, and he became really controlling over their daughter as well, where he controlled if they went on play dates, even said that Tony wasn't allowed to say goodnight to her because that was considered father-daughter time, and he would read stories to her and have her go to bed. And that was the time that Tony was to be there, and then he planned all of her meals. Tony didn't have a say in that, so he was starting to he was being very, very manipulative and very difficult. It's so difficult because
Years later. This isn't just all of a sudden like within 6 months being together, which may be easier to say, okay, this is definitely not right and red flags and what's going on. But when you're years into a relationship with someone, little things start happening and then all of a sudden it's like 4 years later or more, and you're like, what is going on? Like, what is my life right now? How did this happen?
Biz,
You know, like, it
says
must
they're
be
going off
so
the
much more
field team
difficult.
today.
Especially with lives that are sometimes
They're
married,
already
have
overdue for a
kids,
check-in.
You know,
yeah,
things are
you have a
Outworlder,
family together,
you
someone
need
who
to
you
find
love,
my team
you
before
have a
Neff's
home
Rico
together,
squad
you have a
does.
career, they have a relationship together, you have a job, and like you said, you're happen. So one day, Harold reaches out to the office manager, who doesn't like him, and asks for a favor. He told her that he had a trip planned to Rocky Mountain National Park for their anniversary, and he wanted it to be a surprise, and he needed her help to plan it. And at the time, even though she didn't like Harold, if he was planning something to be kind and to be a good husband for Tony, she was willing to help. So she cleared Tony's work schedule for the week they planned to leave,
They
and one
were
day
in
Harold
debt
came into
because
her
they
work
chose
and
the calling of
surprised her with the
conservation
announcement.
over
So with
filling
this
Neff's
all planned,
pockets.
the two headed out to the
Seems
national
like the
park
creature
together,
wanted to make a
and they
point.
went without Kaylee, their daughter. This was just a getaway
isn't the whole
weekend for
team.
their anniversary.
We need more info.
And Harold had
Search the
lots
bodies.
planned for their romantic getaway. And the first plan was to go out into the park on some of the
Damaged.
beautiful hiking
There's
trails.
something in the buffer.
The first on
We
the
need to get it
itinerary
decoded
was to
before the
hike
device
Deer
fails.
Mountain Trail. And
Accessing
this is a
buffer.
beautiful hike with
Analyzing.
mountain views and wildflowers. And it's a 6-mile loop that is rated as
Password.
difficult on the
No.
All Trails app.
Buffer.
If you don't have the All
Accessing
Trails
final
app, you should also
transmissions.
get that because
Come on,
it's super
final
helpful for when
transmissions.
you're out on the trail and when you're looking
I'm in.
for a trail to
Taking
do.
a quick
Staple.
look around.
Yeah. I don't go.
Itinerary,
It's
control
hard
log
to
coordinates,
navigate
reports,
anything
blah,
without it. Like,
blah,
I
blah.
always look at it before I go anywhere.
The survivors are being held
know
nearby,
if they
awaiting
were, I know you said it was
processing.
rated as difficult.
Utica.
Were they
We
outdoorsy
don't have
people
long.
at all? Like, did they
Here we are.
hike
Find any
and do
survivors.
outdoor
Get them out.
activities? Or do
Not
you know
again.
anything?
Listen,
About that,
Sparky.
they had
I
other
need
photos,
you to
like
get
other
in there
family
and
photos
get our
doing
people back.
outdoor activities. I
And you
don't think
don't need
either
to
of
be
them were
nice about
avid
it.
hikers, but they certainly weren't crazy. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was September 29th, 2012, and they headed out into this
Here
trail.
come the taxmen.
And the two were having a lovely time. And they stopped to pose with each other. They took pictures of each other, not just with each other. It was a beautiful day. The aspen leaves were turning beautiful yellow. The weather was perfect. The skies were clear. It was the perfect day to be out. And then something
think I didn't notice your little heist earlier. Quite a stunt you pulled with that young... What was his name? Thursby.
Tenno, you have to get back here before they get to him.
Hey, fellas. Thursby. Nah, you just missed it. Oh, I didn't do nothing. You don't understand. Stop.
Please tell me I got a neuro. Bro, I'm gonna fight somebody. I need a neuro. Thursby.
Thursby. I was supposed to protect him. Now he's in pieces. The medic's not sure if they can stabilize him with so much missing. This was a mistake, letting you get involved. Why did I listen to Biz? Maybe it's not too late to impress Neff before his big unveiling. Appeal to his mercy. Show him what we can do. Get topside. I'll fill you in.
I have to find my...
After talking with the 911 dispatch, he sent out a text to Tony's brother. It read, "Barry, urgent.
That's pushing
Tony
ahead
is
with
injured
activating that
in
coolant
Estes
tower,
Park.
but it's
Critical.
not ready.
Requested
My
flight for
engineers
life."
need a mineral, amarest,
A
to
few
counter
moments
the
later,
inevitable heat
Harold
cascade.
texted him again.
I've marked an
This time
excavation
he
site where
wrote,
you should find some.
Tony
Bring it
is
back,
gone.
and maybe we
That's
stop the
why would you
entire
text
valley
someone
from
that?
being bathed in
Right?
slag.
That was my first thought. Why would you ever text your family that? And also, why are you texting in this whole scenario anyway? If I was with my spouse that just fell off of a cliff, I would be calling 911. I wouldn't be texting the family. Or like texting their family and letting them know what happened. Not until they were safe. I would be doing CPR. The text thing just really rubs me the wrong way.
Do you not understand?
Obviously, a lot
Nothing
of
you
him and
do
his
will
personality
make
rubs me the wrong way.
kind.
But
The
that
more you
really
give,
irks
the
me.
more he'll
That's-
take.
it's
When you
insensitive,
rise
and
up,
it's
people
not
get
right.
hurt.
Well, if you don't
But
like him
if we
texting,
let
you
that fear
really have to
divide
watch
us,
the rest of the
it
story.
will only get worse.
This reminds me of the Zion episode.
I saw
with,
a Unico.
Yeah,
I haven't
Patricia
seen for
Ballerini,
years
yeah.
back there.
Yeah. So
Fortuna
Tony's
needs
family
that
was
Unico back.
absolutely devastated by
We
this
need
news,
Vox.
obviously. And they couldn't believe that this is what happened. But they said the words that many people were thinking. And they outright said, he pushed her. And Harold started acting very strangely after her death.
Can I
And her
cancel this
family took
fucking
it very
thing? I
hard
don't
because
want
of
this fucking snack
First
crate.
off,
I
within
genuinely
48 hours of
don't
her death,
want it.
he had planned her entire funeral. He had already put together an entire slideshow of photos of their life together, picked out all the songs he wanted played at her service, and hired the singers to sing.
5 days after her death, a ceremony was held for her, and Harold had already had her body cremated.
Of course he did. Of course he did.
And this was upsetting as it was completely against the wishes, and also their unit was connected to Rock, Mississippi, and very that struck their family particularly odd, and they thought that it was quite possible that he did this because he this is just one thing I like this name. When you're right, I'm just more and more as time goes on. I will say though, just to play devil's advocate, it's not really sure but some people all those ducks in a row right away as far as right after her death, like getting things handled as far as funerals, details, and things like that. Like, I don't know, maybe some people just want to way, but it's just about the party that all the people lined up. I don't know. It's I see like some people that just like and how they plan their breathing is to do something, but also it could be construed as very suspicious as well. But then more things started and all of the people who knew the Harold started giving very different statements as to what exactly happened that day that she fell. Harold had said originally that he fell while trying to set up
Solaris!
He claimed that he
The
didn't know
investor
how she
showcase
fell,
is tomorrow,
and that she was a
and you
slower hiker than
still
him, and when
maintain the
he turned
coolant
around
tower
to
is
look
not
over,
ready.
she's gone.
Have
And so he
you
looked over
no
the cliff
faith?
side, and that was when he
My
saw her.
test run will
He
commence
also
now,
stated
and
that
the
he
board
looked down
shall
to check
know
her
it was
text
I,
message, and when he
Nathaniel,
looked up,
who
she
brought
was
the
gone, and she
glory of
had
the
gone.
Oregon to life
So
once
three
more.
very separate stories.
Starting
So this
already?
was very, very
Next gonna
suspicious
trigger a
to them.
heat
And
cascade
part
if
of
he
Rocky
puts that
Mountain
coolant tower
National
up
Park's
without the
protocol
cameras.
whenever someone
Get
dies
us
in an
killed.
accident, such as
Hurry.
falling off a cliff,
Solaris,
area.
why
And
isn't
right
it
away,
working?
there were several red
Fix
flags
this!
that the investigators found. First was that the couple had actually walked off of the trail, and they walked on top of a very steep and rocky terrain of the area. And this was particularly suspicious because Tony had bad knees, and this climb would have been exceptionally hard on her to do. Another
Too late.
thing that investigators
Come
found
back to Fortuna
suspicious
tonight.
was evidence from Tony's body. When
Bitch, you made me
rescuers
walk
at the
all
scene,
this
Tony
way.
had already passed
Disaster
away.
is
In the
your
911 call,
bumbling.
Harold had
Present
stated
me
she
your
fell
floor
about
boss.
30 feet, but she had actually
I
fallen
am
128 feet.
Floor boss.
Harold had
Utica.
reported that he had been
FB9.
giving her mouth-to-mouth
I take
CPR to try
responsibility
and
for
save
this.
her life, but her lipstick that she
Finally,
had worn that day was
one
still
of you
completely
shows some
intact.
backbone.
Something else that they noted
Floor
was on her
boss,
left hand.
select 50 workers
Her
of
hand
low
had not been
efficiency
injured in the
and
fall,
have them in front
but
of
the diamond
Fortuna
in
for
her wedding
repo.
ring was gone.
Their
A
upgrades I
diamond
shall
that Harold
bequeath to
claimed was
Solaris
worth
of greater efficiency.
$30,000.
And for the
After they combed
failures,
the area and
brain
scoured the
shelter.
entire scene,
Make
it
your
was
list.
nowhere to be found.
You have one orbit hour.
And then they found something that was chilling to the bone. Inside of Harold's car, they found a map of Rocky Mountain National Park.
Utica,
And on
you're
that
not
map
going through with this.
was highlighted Deer Mountain
Not
Trail.
now, Biz.
And in the exact location where Tony fell to her death was a red X.
What an idiot. What an idiot. This whole thing is so stupid. Like, not to give you tips or anything, but why would you not think this out a little more?
I know, from an outside perspective, we're like, stupid. If we were gonna murder, we totally wouldn't leave a map outlining what we were doing.
And the whole lipstick thing, and I mean, the ring, it's like, okay, yeah, that's suspicious, but the lipstick thing also, it's like, okay, dude, like, that's the first thing that people are gonna look at. Did you try and save your wife's life by giving CPR? You say yes, yet the way that you are supposed to be breathing into her mouth, there's no indication that you you even attempted to do that, right off the bat, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's just horrible all around. And I mean, there's a lot of evidence here that's pointing to this is a really suspicious, quote unquote, fall. And Tony was very loved and liked in the community. She had always been incredibly smart, caring, and kind, and everyone who met her loved her. And many people were absolutely devastated by her passing. And because of all this love that people had for her, there was a lot of suspicion around Harold, and they voiced it very loudly. The police received 16 different calls and letters asking them to investigate Tony's death as a homicide and to investigate Harold as her killer.
That's amazing to have advocates
You can
on
leave
your
Fortuna
side.
and never
that
come back.
You can't speak for yourself,
Wouldn't blame
obviously.
ya. This
To
isn't your
have the
fight.
love and support
But
from friends and family and
Sparky,
people who cared about
Ness
you,
massing his
rooting
troops
for you
outside
and
our
wanting
doors.
justice for you.
And
Even
you're
if
the
it
only
wasn't
thing
the case,
standing
you know,
between
it's
us
suspicious.
and bloody
We still want it
oblivion.
looked into, and she deserved to have it investigated and not just written off as an accident. That's awesome, and I hope if, God forbid, anything ever happened to me like that, and I was ever in a situation like that people would do that for me.
And just looking into this whole entire case, it seemed like Tony had a very loving and supporting family, and she was just loved by everyone who didn't like Harold, first off, and loved her. And this was horrible for people to hear about that happened to her, and they wanted, if Harold had done this, they wanted him to pay for it. Police were getting all of these tips and phone calls.
Guys,
saying,
I'm stuck
"Please
on hold trying to
investigate
get this
this.
shit fucking
This is
canceled.
suspicious. Harold did it. He pushed her. He killed her. Please look into it."
Knew I
And
could
then
trust you.
an anonymous tip came
Take this.
into an
There's a
investigative
present in there for
journalist
the
at
mucking
CBS
taxman.
News, and
Why
it
don't you deliver
changed
it to them?
everything. It was a letter.
This better be the K-bomb.
Harold's previous wife died in a strange, tragic accident as well. So Harold had always told the story that his previous wife died in a tragic car accident. And although a car was involved, that was
What
not
are you
even
trying to
close
do,
to the
Unico?
entire story.
Buy him off?
His previous
You've
wife,
lost it.
Lynn Henthorne, died
my
on
cable?
May 6, 1995.
Where's my 50
Lynn and Harold
Solaris,
had been married
Fortuna?
for 12 years.
You're
Lynn was
wasting
a
my
social
time.
worker. By family
Who
and friends
do
that
you
knew them,
think
they
you
were
are?
described as an extremely happy and loving couple. They were very close and active inside their families, always attending holidays and birthdays. Lynn was described as being a wonderful and kind person.
Get that case as
She
close
was
as you
sent
can
out
to
of
them.
the room whenever she walked in. Harold took law
Give 'em
enforcement
hell,
that
but
any man
Thursby.
out for dinner on a drive in Sedalia, Colorado. While they were driving, Harold thought one of his tires was low in air and decided to pull over in a very remote area. While Harold was attempting to change the tire, Lynn was helping out by holding love nets for him, and she accidentally dropped it under the
Solaris
car.
United.
When she went under the car to
I
grab
know that
it,
voice.
Harold was putting the
I
tire in
killed
the back of the
that
Jeep,
voice.
and when he did
You
that, it knocked the Jeep
a
off the
ghost.
jack, and the Jeep fell on top of it,
I
crushing
don't
and killing him.
believe
Lynn's siblings all thought that the accident was odd, but they all loved his daughter, and they couldn't imagine that he could be involved in anything suspicious. But when police investigated, Harold had conflicting stories, just while he told another victim that he already arrested. One report, Harold told police
Whoever
that
you
Jeep
are,
fell on her,
you don't
and
know
Lynn called
what
out.
hell you
But
brought
in
upon
another
your
statement,
people.
he said that he was but then later said that he stopped telling. So he had a lot of different conflicting stories, but after 6 days of investigating this
Sparky,
case,
not worth
they
it.
ruled
Get
this
back
as
in
an
here.
accident and
Neck won't
closed
risk
it.
destroying
But Harold,
Fortuna with that
even
orb.
after this,
We've bought the time we
continued to
need.
tell stories of that war, and all of them were conflicting. And many times, he started telling people that she died in a head-on collision in her car accident.
Just so maybe it's easier, instead of explaining the whole story, it's easier
That's
to
right.
just say she got into,
Scuttle
she got
back
into
to
a
your
car accident
home.
and she died.
I'm going
So
to
then he
replace
told
the
Tony
lot of you
about
with
his
Moas.
ex-wife and
In
told
the
other
meantime,
people He
Profit
had like some
taker
weird
here will
things where
make
he
sure
said
you
he
stay
felt
good
guilty that she
and
died because he was in the car when the car crashed
I owe you an
and things like
apology,
that. So he was making up
And if you
flat out
say
lies of what
false,
happened.
Okay,
pass
yeah,
along
that's
my
a different
thanks.
story. Because I was imagining
No,
maybe
Liz,
down
thank
the
you
road
for
saying
not giving
two
up on
people
me.
who
We
asked
all
or
left
whatever,
together.
you know, yes, I was married before
And
and
we
she passed
will.
away in a car accident.
We just poked a
It's
covert
much
on.
easier to
And
say
if we
and
don't
less
show him who's in
re-traumatizing
charge,
to say
we're
then
lunch.
she got crushed while I was trying to change a tire. And, you know, that's where my mind goes as far as saying, okay, she just died in a car accident.
Yeah, and I mean, that would be normal, not going into detail about your wife's death and just being kind of vague about it because you don't want to talk about it. But he's going into these weird details that aren't even true. So, yeah, just more things that aren't adding up. So with all of this new information regarding Lynn's death, the police decided that they were
Sparky,
going to
so
launch
Laura's
a
United's just
full-fledged
getting started.
investigation
Neff
into
won't
him
want
for
us
the
messing with his
possible
investor
murder of
showcase.
his wife.
He's planted that
The
old
fact
mother
that
out there
his
to make sure
previous
we
wife
stay in here.
died in a very
But now is the time to
freak
press for levers.
accident to have
Head to the
his
surface when you're
second
ready.
wife
I've arranged a
also
little something
die
for you.
in a weird, tragic accident didn't seem like a coincidence to them. And during this investigation, they continued to find more and more evidence.
Dude, this
that
shit's
supported
aggravating.
theory
It's,
that
if it
Harold
says that my
Hathorne
subscription is
killed his
canceled,
wife. While looking
why
into
would it
his
take out the money for a
finances,
subscription?
He discovered that Harold had not actually worked at all in over 20 years.
I'm gonna throw hands. I want
There
my
were no records
fucking
at
money
all of
back.
His company existing or him ever
Dude, it just
having
took out
any
another
type of
one.
income.
I'm sorry. How do you get by?
Oh, we'll get into that.
Okay.
I'm calling my
I mean,
bank,
I
guys. I'm gonna
working
keep running
remotely,
around,
and
but I'm
now
calling my
makes a lot of
bank.
sense. You're not working at all.
Yeah. As they were building their case, they had not arrested Harold for anything yet, and they decided to confront him about his finances. And he stated that that Tony knew he had not been working this whole time and that it was no secret. Her family, however, shot that down very quickly. He had been known to brag about how successful he was and how much money he was making for this nonprofit organization. Her family also reported that Harold had complete control over their finances, and the few times Tony had looked at them, she had noticed that there was less money than Harold claimed they had.
So she was making all of the money.
Yes.
Period.
Mm-hmm. This was very important information for the police to discover, because also during their investigation, they discovered that Harold's previous wife had been worth a lot of money when she died. Lynn Henthorne had a life insurance policy where Harold was the sole beneficiary, worth $625,000.
So was he living off that? Like
He was living off of that money that entire time.
I just got goosebumps. That is so disgusting.
Well, then they learned that in the event of Tony's death, Harold would receive $4.7 million.
So he was seeing dollar signs in his eyes. He must have been.
I mean, both of his wives were worth money and they both died. So as they're investigating this case even further, they found that Harold had actually taken out a life insurance policy on his first wife's sister. He took out a $400,000 life insurance policy where he was the sole beneficiary.
Okay, I just emailed them. Hopefully this shit gets fixed.
Is that common?
Yeah, if this means anything,
No,
like
not
if this
that.
tells y'all anything, don't go with
Take out
Snack
a
Crate.
life- I-
Just
yeah,
don't.
that's weird.
This is
Take a
bullshit.
life insurance policy out on your
Brookie lent us her
sibling.
personal K
I
drive.
don't think it's pretty
Fastest
common,
board in the
but
Vallis.
if that
See
person
if you can't
signs
slip
off on
right
it,
past
it's a
that
legal
spider mama.
document and he forged her signature.
What a guy.
Yeah, which makes you wonder, was she going to die next?
That's such a good point.
Super scary, super creepy.
Wait. The first wife or second wife?
First wives.
Okay, the first wife. That's what I thought. Okay.
So after Tony's
Hit the
death,
accelerator,
there was a
Sparky.
coroner
No hope
that
without
decided
gunning
to
that all.
relook at Lynn's case. She found several discrepancies. When she was looking into how low the tire pressure was, that Harold had reported the tire was, they found that there would have been no need to change the tires, and that it actually would have been very strange for place with no lights to change this tire. When they use a model car that was similar to the same Jeep that they had and put the tire pressure down, it was something you probably wouldn't have even noticed driving. Also, they noted, because of the shape of the lug nuts, it was very unlikely that if you dropped one on the ground, that it would roll at all.
How's the
So
ride?
it probably
If you
would
want one,
not
see
have
Roki
rolled
when this is
underneath
all
the
over.
car
Right
and
now,
would
we
have
got a
just
job to
fallen
do.
to her feet. With this new evidence and this new suspicions with his second wife dying, the coroner in the
You
year
made it.
2014
Time to give
changed her
Ned a
cause
taste
of death
repossession.
from accidental
Patch me
to
into the cooling tower's control system.
and finally, after 2 years of collecting evidence on Harold, the police had enough evidence to arrest him for first-degree murder in Tony's death. In the early stages of his arrest, a judge ruled that Lynn's case could be discussed at trial for Tony's murder as well.
Fuck you.
And then in 2015, the trial began. During his trial, the prosecution brought forward even more damning evidence that Harold had to
I
have
am
killed
Corpus
his wife.
Engineers. What's going on down there? I've lost control of the cooling tower.
His location,
The investors
they
are
found
watching.
that Harold had visited
Acknowledge.
the exact area that Tony died in 9 times prior to her death. There it is. The map, the books, the phone records, everything. He was scouting and planning all of this. Like, how do you explain that?
How long am I defending this console?
The wrong day for collective
I'm
bargaining.
just in
Corpus
like
kill
awe of
squads,
this guy,
converge
and
on the
not
control
in a good way.
cluster at once.
What an idiot.
Investors!
It's like
Everything
audacity
is
to
under
think
control.
that you could get away with something like that. It's not right. No, it's not right.
Are you freeloaders trying to damage my cooling tower?
And
Oh,
that
of
diamond was
course,
worth
all your
$30,000.
groveling has moved the
During
bleed
their
hard
initial
tenor to come to your
investigation,
aid.
the FBI had been
No matter,
pushing Harold
my
and
kill
asking
squad will
him
carry you
a lot
all
of questions
swiftly
about where
to
the
the
had
void.
gone. It wasn't in the area. If he had fallen in, hopped off in the fall, or be here, where is it? And they were putting a lot of pressure on him. And then one day,
Investors!
researching the area, lo and
Enjoy
behold,
this
the diamond
display
ring was
of
just sitting
security
right
prowess.
where Tony
Rest assured, your
So the
investment is
diamond
protected.
that has been dislodged. No one can find it. Multiple people scouring the area now. All of a sudden, just sitting right there, like, how would have anybody missed that? Exactly. And that was extremely suspicious. When the investigation brought up. All of this evidence on top of the map with the the insurance money, and the mysterious the jury took only 10 hours to deliver. The jury convicted Harold of first-degree murder and he was sentenced to life in prison.
In the
Harold
name
has
of the
since
void,
tried to appeal
I
his conviction,
command you
stating
to
that the death
stop.
of his previous wife should
You're
have
putting
never
my
been allowed
entire
in court.
enterprise at
He has
risk.
still not been prosecuted or tried for his death. But the case is still open, and it is still possible that at some point he will be tried for her death. I hope he does. And what is so sad about this entire thing, other than Tony's death and Lynn's death, is Haley, the daughter. So Haley was 7 years old at the time of her mom's death, and her mom's parents actually are in the process of, or maybe they have now, of adopting her. They have taken on her family's last name, and her last name is Montane, and she is growing up with her family that lives in Mississippi. At least that's not the silver
Blow
lining
that
out of a
tower,
terrible situation.
and you'll
but
destroy
even still, I
Fortuna.
mean, especially as a young kid, you don't understand what's happening. In your eyes, you love your dad, and you can't see all the wrong that has happened, and that's a really sad situation to be in as a child, as anybody, but especially as a child. Yeah. And it's unfortunate what a horrible person that Harold turned out to be, and that Tony was just
Fuck
looking for love,
off. Are you
and had this
shitting me right
connection
now?
with someone, and he saw her as a way to get more money. I was actually looking even deeper into this investigation, and I found a whole article about a woman who was dating Harold At the same time, he was dating Tony.
Before they were married?
Before they were married, but not that long before they were married. Because they were only dating for a year. So, and it's just like, just add another layer of dirtbag onto this man. This woman comes forward in this article and says they met on an online dating site. She was a little bit farther distance, so they didn't see each other often, but they did see each other. They talked on the phone all the time. They were dating, and she said that she ended up ending the relationship because of the distance and them not seeing each other very often.
So Laura's
But
tonight is just getting
but
started.
he seemed very
Unless
arrogant
one is
and
messing with
very
his investor
cocky. And
showcase.
then she also
He's
said
planted that orb
something
mother
about
out there
him
to
just
make
seemed
sure we
fake.
stay
They
in here.
didn't end on bad
But now is the
terms.
time
They
to
kinda
press
just
for
ended on
leverage.
we're too
Head to
far
the surface
away.
when
This
you're
isn't
ready.
working kind
I've
of thing.
arranged a
And
little
he went on
something
to
for you.
marry Tony a few months later. But he was doing all this at the very beginning of the relationship. You know, I'm sure Tony had known this from the start. Maybe
Roki lent us her personal K drive.
And I mean,
fastest board in
what
the
a
Vallis.
horrible
See if you can't slip
relationship
right
and
past
what
that
horrible
spider mama.
luck. I mean, this man was cheating on her, stole money from her, and then he ended up killing her for more of her money. Like, it's just overall, it's so horrible. What horrible person to get married to, and I just feel so sorry.
Hit the accelerator, Sparky.
And the one
No
word
hope without getting
comes
that
up
orb.
in my mind, all of that is deceit. He deceived her, his first wife, friends, family. He tried to be deceitful to investigators. Like, he's just full of lies and trying to trick people into a false narrative. Like, you know, and it's just so upsetting. And I just kind of wish that, not only in this case, but in others as well, when it's so blatantly obvious that you are guilty, it's kind of like rubbing salt in the wound when you just won't admit it. Just admit it. You've already been convicted beyond a reasonable doubt. Why won't you just come
How's the
forward?
ride?
You know,
If you want one, see
it's
Roki when this is all
unfortunate
over.
that it's to
Right
just
now, we got a job to do.
admit it. You know, like, what are you doing by just continuing, like, appealing and this and that? It's like, come on. Yeah, the appealing process.
You made it.
You've been convicted,
Time to
and
give
it's
Neff
pretty
a
clear
taste of
that you did
repossession.
it. No one
Patch me into
believes
the
that you
coolant
did
tower's
it.
control
You know
system.
you did it. We know you did it. The world knows you did it. Just give up and stop getting handled for this. You don't deserve to be out of prison. I hated Harold.
Alright guys, got it taken care of.
Story, but this is
It's
actually
gonna take like fucking 5 to 10 business days to get fixed, but
actually,
or for me to get my refund, which is gonna piss me off.
stories I came across, and I was
But
like,
oh well.
this would be an interesting one.
When I do finally get the fucking refund, I can just put it back into my savings
Magazine
account.
had a lot of attention to it at the time, and then it kind of fell on the back burner. And then recently, a couple people have messaged us being like, "Hey, did you hear about this story?" It's like, I do. It's been one that I've been meaning to share on here. It is tragic. We did get a little bit more murder.
Okay, now I can like fully focus on this,
Murder this week, and we
which
usually
I'm
switch it up
doing
where
a
we do, like,
shit
survival
job at
story and
currently.
murder and kind of go through it. But
Fuck.
I just felt it was time to share.
God
the story.
damn it, dude.
But that's all I have this week.
These ones piss me off. Like when it's the orb and you have to like press space on all the proper things.
60s now, I think. But
Bro, this shit's gonna piss me the fuck off.
this is where I guess Harold sucks. This is so sad. Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that and finally getting to it. Yeah, of course. And that is everything.
Here
that
we
I have
go.
for today's episode. I hope
What's going on down there? I've
enjoyed
lost
it.
control
And
of the
if you want
coolant
to check
tower.
out more, you can find us on
The
Instagram.
investors
Our
are
Instagram
watching.
name is National Park
Acknowledge.
After Dark. We also have a Facebook page, National Park After Dark, and we also have a Twitter that we never mentioned. So if you want to find us on Discord, our name is
You know, I was actually gonna get food whenever. That's why I opened my bank account, because I don't need to save, but it's just like peace of mind. Because whenever it comes to finances, I get like really anxious.
Everything is under
Welcome to the place for a red flag. It's
just a fucking red
Dude, these fucking pair of shockwaves suck dick.
What is it, TikTok or Reels?
And these drone pieces of shit, dude.
Freeloaders trying to damage my coolant tower. Oh, of course, all your groveling has moved the bleed-hard Tenno to come to your aid. No matter. My kill squads will carry you all swiftly.
Hi everyone, this is Jillian with Court Junkie. Court Junkie is a true crime podcast that covers court cases and criminal trials using audio clips and interviews with people close to the cases. Court Junkie is available on Apple Podcasts and podcastone.com.
Enjoy this display of security prowess. Rest assured, your investment is protected.
John Wayne Gacy was suspected of having killed a man
I can keep them focused on me and not on that thing. It'd be fantastic. But I've got to. They're coming in from like all angles.
Devil Disguise. All episodes streaming now.
Bro, fuck the attack drone. I gotta kill the people. Yeah, focus me, aggro on me.
In the name of the void, I command you to stop.
The thing everybody's
You're
not
putting my entire enterprise at
John
risk.
Wayne Gacy. Devil Disguise. All episodes streaming now.
Acknowledge our work. Honor the age-old accord between Solaris and Corpus.
Aggro me, please. Aggro on me. Not on that. As long as I can, like, attempt to keep shield up, I should be Gucci made.
Blow that tower, and you'll destroy Fortuna.
Fortune is what lies with us, Nathaniel. And we know that to men like you, poverty holds a greater threat than death.
Reload a couple times. Take out these fucking guys.
Wait. Fine. I'll hold the repossessions. Is that what you want? Stop this.
Never forget, Solaris make the Valus work. No Solaris, no Valus. Do we have an understanding?
Yes. I understand.
All I needed to hear. Sparky, drop the Amarest in. Fingers crossed this even works.
Investors, please! I swear! The system works. This is just a minor hiccup. Some minor labor relation issues to deal with. Understand, right? Right? Where are you going?
The heat cascade is dissipating. Readings returning to normal. That did it. Well then, Sparky.
As long as the pending doesn't go through, I should get my money back, like, immediately.
If it wasn't me, someone else would have done it. Meanwhile, you come see me anytime. Solaris United's got plenty of work for you.
Okay, yeah, one of them dropped. Awesome. The other one we have to, like, wait for the refund because it actually went through. But the $35 one came back in, which means they're just missing $32. Time to go back to Fortuna. Let's see if we can make this. It's kind of weird. Apparently, so I'm thinking that those are things that we can like ramp off of shit and hit to get like XP or something. Yeah, I don't know what that just gave us. Return to Fortuna. Oh, we completed Voxelars. And we still got no neurodes. So can we buy neurodes like on the market?
Need to equip your trip with companionship. Talk to legs, baby. They know it. And what? Don't recognize me? It's Thursby.
It's Thursby.
Together. Top shelf parts. Not just that. Biz gave me enough spare stock to start my own shop. Legs, pets, and parts. That's my new name. Legs. Don't call me Thursby no more. I've got a new body, new store, new hook, new name. Come back anytime, and Legs will build you a mower just for you.
Click on our Patreon link there, or go to our website, npadpodcast.com. I'm really excited to hear your story today, so let's go.
All right, this episode, I will say, I have been looking forward to for so long.
All right, we're gonna stop the podcast for now, just so we can hear the game. Figure a Mull companion, a Hound companion. Browse wares. Let's see. I have no platinum, bro.
Just here for the show. Right, now, where did I put that bucket of spelling?
I'm gonna go pee real quick, and then I'm gonna Google how to find neurodes, because we need one neurode. One neurode. And then we can finish that freaking wing thing. So give me 1 second, guys. Oh, my foot's falling asleep.
The devil is in and the shades are up. That's right. It's just you and me, passing each other slow and with a nod, saying all that needs saying. I'm Nora Knight, saying, you live with wolves, you better act like one.
Can't get you out of my head. Rewards: 5 buried debts, 5 amalgam shotgun spasm, amalgam serration. What is that for? Seal fractures across the
Are you enjoying the view?
organs. No, I'm not Ortis. I need one fucking neurode. Okay, best place to farm neurodes. Earth is the best place to try and farm neurodes. The Everest node features an excavation mission. That is the first place you will need to grind to try. After you get access to the Tikal node, you should grind that instead. Do we have the Tikal node? I don't remember, guys. I guess we're gonna find out, right? Tikal. Need to go Earth. We don't have Tikal, but we do have Everest. Which it says is the first place. Tikal would be better, but we'd have to play through the Tikal. So...
The scanner has picked up a target. Go to the dig site. Deployed. Protect the unit while it extracts the artifact. Excavation complete. Look what we found.
I don't care what we found if it's not a neurode.
The excavator has run out of power. Cell.
Me and this guy, 1969. Oh, well, now it's just me. Wait, he's still there. 1969 Mustang boss. Is he going for extraction? Or is he going excavators?
Look what we just uncovered.
It's not neurodes, I don't care.
Excavator is ready to go. Keep it powered and protected from enemy fire. An artifact has been located. Proceed to the dig site. Your hard work has just been rewarded. Excavator deployed. Protect the unit while it extracts the artifact. An artifact has been located. Proceed to the dig site.
Are we at like the max that we can do? Basically, we're just farming XP right now.
Look what we just uncovered.
Nothing will ever excite me again until I get this one last Neurode. So I can beat this freaking mission. Oh, I think he wants to leave. Oh yeah, he wants to leave. I'm on my way, buddy. Or they want to leave. Sorry. This is my bad. It is not polite to assume gender. That is on me. I was not thinking. The only thing on my mind right now is these fucking Neurodes that I keep not getting. And I fell in the hole. Bro, you're gonna give me a Lith Relic and Oxium, but no fucking Neurode? I'm gonna cry. Like, I'm legit gonna cry. Because this is some bullshit. Give me the fucking Neurode that I want, please. Oh, we have a new quest available, it looks like.
Unread inbox messages make me ill.
Your mom makes me ill. These items have invited you to their orbiter. Sure. When tragedy strikes, the vent kids reach for... Huh? Utico. Deadlock Protocol. Power struggle within the Corpus Elite has erupted, seeking control. Nef Anya looks to the past, to the very origins of... Ooh! We can get a whole nother chassis. Bro, I just want my Neurode. Come on, man. I just want a Neurode. Please give me a Neurode. Can I call my PC handmade? Because I mean, technically, I made it by myself.
There is a large platoon of Grenier Marines stationed here. Leave no one standing.
Get Clem!
Oh, I think I fucked up. Oh, yeah. You good down there, bro? We show no mercy. Well, I mean, we show some mercy sometimes. Wait. Home. Where we going? Where we going, my boy?
Marines inbound.
Here we go. Papa wants a Neurode. Give Papa a Neurode. Are you shitting me? I did it.
You have broken their ranks and they are on the run. Another successful mission. Find extraction.
Diggy rock. Neurode? You gonna give me the... Fuck! Oh, but we got more. Bro. I got the 2 Morphics that I needed way earlier. I'm gonna cry. Maybe we play through to... What's it called?
Tenno, your codex has been updated with a new quest.
Yeah, don't invite me back, bro. I don't want to be there. We made it past the 2-hour mark. Name him. Fucking shitting me, bro. I don't want to do this. Get me out of your crew. It was fun and all, but I don't want to be here.
This is a rescue mission. We need to find and liberate...
Cool. Failed the mission. Yeah, I'm on my own now. Why can't I name him Butthead? Your pet will be named Butthead. Yes. Mature Butthead for combat. How long is that gonna take? Do I can make that, but I don't want that. Can't make that. I need 4 neurodes for that. We have Gara, Garuda, Ivara Prime that we can make. I still need that 1 neurode, my guy. Alright, yeah, we're gonna go to that one thing. We're gonna have to work to it. To Venus. To Earth. Cervantes Erpo Oro Gal. What's this? 2 events. Thermia fractures. Venus Orb Valis. Opticore Vandal, Buried Debt Sigil.
Do you remember the old war, Operator? Order seems to have misplaced those memories.
Next objective, the Archwing, Halve the Kubro, Incubate and Mature, Visit Cambion Drift. View Roxy's Inbox. No. Void Fissures. Don't want to do that. So yeah, I guess let's play through this Cervantes Erpo Orotacal and hope we get a neurode at some point in this.
The Grineer want to poison the mighty forests of Earth to make more room for themselves. You are here to stop them. Find the toxin mixer.
You got it.
Intel suggests there are rich enemy supply caches in the area, but I am unable to pinpoint their exact location. Search them out if you are willing to shoulder the added risk.
Not really. Oh, well, here's one.
You found the first resource cache. I'm detecting 2 more faint hints.
Don't know what you mean by that, but okay, go off, sis. Oh, I gotta get up there. Okay.
The mixer activates the toxin by combining it with a biocatalyst. Remove the biocatalyst to render the toxin harmless. Take care when destroying the biocatalyst cartridge. It is highly explosive. Head to the poison injector now.
You got it, baby girl. Baby Lotus.
Set the injector into overdrive to incinerate the toxin.
You got it, boo.
The injector is now in an unstable overdrive. Keep the Grineer away while it melts down.
You got it, baby.
You just destroyed a massive batch of Grineer toxin. Good work. Get to extraction.
Nice. a double. Oh, son of a bitch, dude. Finally. Fucking we can finish the Archwing mission. Holy crap. Good, let them leave. I want them to leave. I can finish the Odonata. Holy crap. And we can do Heat Sword too, but this thing finishes, we make... I don't need that. You know what? Actually, yeah, we'll wait. Set up this thing to go. Mess with our mods and stuff.
Operator,
excuse me?
Were you visualizing a bloody battle?
Always.
Me too.
Oh, hello. Young child. Combine 4 unranked mods for a chance at a rare mod. Let me see. Dupes. I have 10 of these. For 12,000? Sure, let's see. Lingering Torment. Great. I don't want that anymore. Montane treasures. What's something that we can do?
Is your mod collection in order?
No, it's not.
I am not equipped to feel envy.
This one. Wait, what is that one? Killed regenerates? No. Okay, let's see. Anything for rifles, because we don't use Lingering Torment. No, I don't want that one. Where's the vitality that we have on our Warframe? Fury? No. 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 Yes. We'll go up to 4. Yes. Stretch, reach, max it. Yes. Wait, no. Yes. Charge just one of them. Yes. Yes. No. No. Yes. 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 Iron Phoenix. Ooh. We'll keep Iron Phoenix. Fast deflection we'll keep. No. Yes. We'll get rid of 2 of these. Yes. 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 Okay, there's my good vitality. Which means we can come back here and go all 7 of those bad boys. The rarity of mods. Wait, what? Cannot sell last of ability mod. Vacuum. Huh? Oh, hold up. Boom, 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 boom. I want to go until it lets me. So. Or is there like an... molecular conversion. Region is... Wait, can I go back onto... Yeah, confirm. Let's see what it says. Ability mod region. Okay. Yeah, keep the Kubra ones. Keep Molten Impact. Gonna keep True Steel. Get rid of Clashing. Get rid of... Wait, keep that. No, get rid of that. Keep 1 Hornet Strike. Keep that. Keep that. Yeah, both of those blunderbuss are the same. Sell 66 of them for 21 grand, or should we go for the 465? And we'll go the 21 grand. Yes. Yes. Exit. Come over here into Arsenal. Ooh, yay, equip butthead. Ooh, we also have tax on though. Yeah, let's go with butthead. Okay, we'll go tax on.
Well put together, operator. Now get out there and
Cut down the...
and make the Lotus proud.
Okay, come back to me. Upgrade. Yes. Yes. Add that. Do I have one that is? I do. Oh yeah, look at that.
Operator, my foundry system has completed a build.
Wait. Okay, yeah, I think... Are there certain ones that can only go on to certain... Tax on, you little weirdo. How do I give him a collar? Okay, actually, we need to pick our quest. Okay, use the foundry to build the Odonata Archwing. Yeah, set that.
Congratulations, you crafted an Archwing. Now I must commence calibration. So much to do. By my calculations, this process will take
372 hours.
Oh, that does seem like a long time.
Tenno, this is an urgent mission. A Corpus scout ship with information about the location of the Grineer Baelor Fomorians has been located. Raid this ship for intel. We need to know everything they do.
Sure.
Tenno, your Kubro has matured. Now, there is only one more rite of passage before you can truly be bonded. I have learned of a Grineer excavation which is said to have uncovered an Orokin-era Kubro collar. Take your Kubro to Earth and recover the collar.
You got it, babes. We're doing this one. I want my Kubro. I want to be able to take it into battle with me. You know what I mean? Should be easy.
A recent Grineer excavation has uncovered an Orokin-era Kubro collar. The Grineer are not pleased about you taking their treasure. Defend the artifact until extraction arrives.
Get Clem!
Hey, butthead. Bro, he just fucking yeeted that thing. You get off of him. Hey, boy. Dude, the way that he just yeets them. Where you bitches at, huh? You spooky bitch. We're almost done. You dirty little bitch. What the fuck are you?
That's the last of them. Objective is secure. Let's go home.
Nijin Kubro collar.
It is done. The collar has been attached and the bond between Tenno and Kubro has been cemented.
Operator, you will remember to care for the beast, won't you? Ordis doesn't care either way. Do I?
Obviously you do, Ordo. It's okay. Secondary color. Attachments.
Stand by while I analyze the intelligence profiles of the Grenier. Error, not a number. Did the operator enjoy this witticism?
Sweet. Okay. Do we do this one? The Deadlock Protocol? Do we begin this one? Oh, I have to be mastery rank 4 before I can do that one. Talk to Darvo in any relay. We can do these 3. So let's go get ready for rank 2. Wait. Before I do that, I have to... Options... Keybinds... Fire weapon... Melee attack... E... Options. Customize keybinds, make sure it stayed the same. Yes. That's... Begin test.
Prove your ability with a sidearm. Eliminate all targets.
Shit.
Again. Ready yourself.
No. How? Bro, you're shitting me, right? Wait, is that it?
Formidable performance. This test is now complete.
That's it? Damn.
Another job well executed.
The inbox has messages for the operator. Anything about orders in there?
No, I'm sorry, bud. Find Corpus Intel. We're having fun right now, guys.
Tenno, tensions between the Grenier and Corpus are boiling over. You're here to find out what the Corpus know.
Here to find out what your mom knows.
For too long, the Corpus have extorted the Grenier. Throw back. Consider all contracts cancelled.
have a problem. There is something breaking from the void.
Your fate, my future! Impossible. All units, full alert. Prepare for boarding.
This ship is disintegrating. Aborting mission. Get to extraction.
Sorry, ship integrity will not permit extraction at this time.
You only have one chance. Ordis, deploy Arcwing.
But my calibrations, it's not...
Ordis, do it now.
Okay, deploying Arcwing.
Tenno, you need to get to the other side of this debris field where Ordis can safely extract you. Energy net. You're stuck in here until you take out that Zeppelin. Get to cover. The Fomorian's guns will obliterate you. Energy net dissipating. Keep moving. You're almost through the debris field. Just a little bit further. That Zeppelin just engaged an energy net. You're stuck in here until it's destroyed. The net is down. Get going.
Operator, the Arcwing is performing beyond expectations. I suppose my calibration process was not necessary after all.
The Fomorian's weapons are designed to destroy capital ships. Don't let them hit your warframe.
I see where I must go.
Ordis, can you extract now? Tenno, stand by for pickup. Another job well executed.
Sure. We got Butthead XP.
We now have the tools to take on Vahek and his Baelor Fomorians. His arsenal is growing, but so will ours. There are more Arkwing designs and more weapons. Together we will take to the skies and confront this new threat.
Alright guys, I think I'm going to end this one here. We don't have a whole lot else going on. Yeah, we don't have a whole lot else going on. So, oh, look at him. Look at Butthead. Let's go to our mods real quick. Fast cutting attacks with puncture finish. No.
Operator, are you enjoying the view?
Yes.
Did you fuse your mods, Operator?
No.
Did they anger you in some way?
Yes. Always. We could make Heat Sword, but I don't want to make Heat Sword. But yeah, we got Ivara Prime, which we could make at some point. Garuda, which we would grind for. Gara, which we would grind for. Total of 8 Orican cells, and we could have these done. Plus all the other shit. The Harrow chassis. Inventory. I have a level 2 Excalibur, a level 22 Lavos. Odonata. How much of this shit do we actually need? Never gonna use those. No, you know what? We'll keep it for now. Bratton sucked. Not gonna use that. We'll keep Taxon, we'll keep the Veritux. Yeah, we'll sell both of those, Imperator and Braton. Or not. Never mind. Alright guys, thank you for joining. I hope you liked the little unboxing at the beginning. Hope you enjoyed the gameplay and me getting pissed off a lot. It tends to happen every time I stream. It's one of the beautiful things about me. And I will see you guys on Thursday, I believe.